Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdemic show. We're back, Rick.
Yeah, we are.
Well, 2/3 of us are.
Yes, unfortunately, we are missing the young Callum. It's like we've left an empty chair there, just for show, to show that he's not here.
I hear he's gone in search of Nate.
No, he's currently performing. I believe right at this second, performing.
Doing a bit of Kenny Loggins, I believe.
I think I thought he was on the street.
He's in the Danger Zone!
Oh, God. He is doing Footloose, yes.
He's performing in Footloose. And we wish him luck.
We do. No,
Not enough to go see it, but...
Well, it's okay. We can't go and see it, but...
We're doing a show.
Yeah. I hope he's listening. In fact, I hope he's not, because he should be performing.
Well, most shows don't start until about 7:30. You can catch this bit.
Oh, okay.
So we've got to be nice to him for the next half hour.
Good luck, Callum, if you're watching.
Good luck, Callum.
Hello to everybody else who isn't Callum.
Yeah.
Because we seem to just be focusing a lot on Callum to begin with. This is the Nerdemic show. I am Rick. You are?
Kieran.
Thanks for adding that in. We are joined in the studio. I'm going to switch webcam so we can see all of the lovely faces in the studio. Look at the webcam up there, guys, and wave. Hello. Hello. What?
Nothing.
Okay.
Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yes. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Georgie.
I'm Birkin. And I'm Harry.
That sounded a lot like you were a university challenge team. That really did, didn't it?
If it's Monday, in 100 days, what day will it be?
Wednesday.
Well done.
There might be some maths questions coming on later. So, what is coming up on the show, Kieran? Why don't you tell everyone?
We have a very exciting show. We've got basically 3 weeks' worth of shows rolled into one.
Yeah, we do.
So we've got some big news on the Marvel front, but for TV and film, not necessarily for comics, which I'm really looking forward to. We're going to be talking about all the latest news with Spiderman and also the new Fox-produced X-Men TV show. Mm-hmm. We have our usual science section and tech, which will be good and fun. Bit of Marvel versus DC. We've got some gaming stuff. We've got anime, which this week you're doing, Rick.
I know, right?
Yeah, and
crazy.
It's one I've seen as well.
I'm like the worst person to do anime, but I watched one and I was like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
He's not here. He can't argue with me. I'm doing it.
For anyone watching for the first time, during our first Nerdemic show, Rick had to be told what anime was.
Actually, I full-on didn't really know the definition of what it was.
Yeah, this is a guy who for over a year has run a Pokemon-based show.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay. And we have a cosplayer, kind of a bit of an odd one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of an extreme one this week.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of his work.
I'm not sure I'd want to meet him, but in a dark alley.
Well.
But there aren't many people I'd really like to meet in a dark alley. Let's face it.
Batman.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing good.
Batman has some bad experiences with dark alleys, though. I'd be worried that there'd be some kind of Nam-style flashbacks that would result in me being beaten half to death.
I hope. Yeah, okay, fair enough. You can make anything sound sinister. You can make anyone in a dark alley sound sinister, Kieran.
Yeah.
Come on. Yes, and I'll be doing a quiz this week. Ooh.
Oh, it's Rick's quiz this week.
Yeah.
Which means I'll probably score a 2 at best.
Well, being as I'm the one who's most confident with the webcam software, I have gone with another picture quiz.
I do like my picture quizzes.
So you'll be enjoying pictures as well as questions. I've got some good ones.
2 of my favourite things.
I know, pictures and questions. It could be like University Challenge, but a really kind of weird university. You know, I grew up at Canto University Challenge, that kind of thing.
You could be like the superhero equivalent to Jeremy Paxman. Jeremy Paxman Man.
Do you want to know a funny story?
I do.
I met Jeremy Paxman's wife yesterday.
Did you?
True story, yeah. That's the story, but it's true.
I thought it was funny.
No.
But you said you want to hear a funny story.
Yeah, well, I lied.
Oh.
Get used to it.
Okay.
Right, so if anybody at home would like to get in contact with us, they can do so in a number of ways. You can tweet us here in the studio at Nerdemic Show. That's nerd and then emic. Like Eric.
Then show.
And then show, yeah.
Don't forget that bit.
No, that would be awkward.
Because you won't be tweeting us.
You can also email us in the studio at radio@onlineradiobroadcasting.com. You can tweet us again in the studio at onlineradiobc. Please do get in contact with us and let us know what you guys think of all the news, the big news. There's lots to discuss.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff we are discussing today is very discussion-based. It's not just news, it's let's all talk about it and share our opinions. We want to hear your opinions.
Especially on Spider-Man. Which, to be fair, we've got an absolute load to get through, so how about we move on to our first section?
Let's crack on to it.
So, we're first going to talk about film. And what is the biggest news in film this week?
The biggest news in film, of course, has to be the fact that Marvel Studios have struck a deal with Sony to get the rights to have Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's hear a whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Oh
Whoop
my God.
whoop.
I thought we were meant to test these guys before we brought them on.
I know, right? Let any old weirdos come in this studio, won't we? Well. Carry on, Kieran.
So, this is the awesome news that everyone has been waiting for ages for, that Spider-Man will be appearing in one of, or possibly more of, the next Marvel Cinematic films. Rumours are at the moment that his first appearance will be in the next Captain America film, which is, of course, based around Civil War. I believe we have some images, Rick.
We do indeed. Let's get them up as soon as I can. So carry on for a minute.
Okay, I'm just carrying on. I've got tons of images, but it's fine.
Oh, be quiet. Here you go. Here you go. This one's very apt. He's coming home.
Yeah, he is. Spider-Man is coming home. Now, what this means for Spider-Man, it's kind of a good news, bad news sort of thing for fans of The Amazing Spider-Man. Marvel have said that they do not want to go along the Amazing Spider-Man route, so it will not be Andrew Garfield playing the wall crawler anymore, unfortunately, which is a bit sad. This does, of course, mean that there's going to have to be some kind of new reboot, origin-y type thing going on, which, of course, you know, we haven't had enough Spider-Man reboots and origin stories over the last couple of decades. But excitingly as well, Sony have got it in their deal so that if they do any more Spider-Man films, which, let's face it, they will milk this cow dry.
Spider cow.
Characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe could appear in his films as well. So we could have Captain America appearing in a Spider-Man film, which would be awesome. Let's face it. Of course, they can't really go along with the whole Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man route, because Amazing Spider-Man was set it came out not long after the Avengers, and of course New York wasn't in tatters after the Chitauri attack, and it's never mentioned, so...
Oh, I feel that they could do something about that if they wanted to.
He just happened to never swing through any of those parts of town.
Yeah, or, I don't know... multiple parallel universe. I don't care. Just they can make something up. It's not like they've really awkwardly retconned things in the past.
Now, this is the thing. One thing a lot of people are saying is whether or not it will actually be Peter Parker as Spider-Man, or if we will have Miles Morales, who is the character that took over from Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe, which the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been following to a certain extent. Things like having Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury, and a lot of the costumes, some of the storylines are very Ultimate based as well.
Do you want to explain what the Marvel Cinematic Universe... Do you want to explain the differences between all these universes for anybody who is a layman?
There are lots of different Marvel universes. However, the three most recognised ones at the moment are the main universe, which is known as Universe 616. That's your kind of Stan Lee back in the 60s setting it all up kind of universe, with, of course, ties back to characters like Captain America in the 40s. There's the Ultimate Universe, which started off in the early noughties with Ultimate Spider-Man. Then came Ultimate X-Men and the Ultimates, which are basically the Avengers, but Ultimate.
Yep.
And retold a lot of the old stories, but with, new twists to them, so it wasn't just rehashing the same thing. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, of course, spans a lot of films by a lot of studios, but is usually recognized as the Marvel Studios films, which are owned by Disney. So that would be your Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Avengers, and all the new upcoming ones. Hulk, of course, the most recent Hulk film with Edward Norton, not the Eric Bana one. We don't talk about that. That never happened.
I love, like, giant clouds that are monsters.
Yeah, I love it when they take a good Marvel villain and turn it into a cloud. Mm-hmm. Just like they did in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
And Green Lantern.
And Green
Although
Lantern.
not a Marvel villain, but still.
No, yeah. But hey, let's turn it into a cloud. I think with Green Lantern they messed up on two fronts. First of all, they took the comic book movie franchise killer, who is Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, no, I feel you're wrong.
No. I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's a great actor, especially for comedic roles. And I think his Deadpool will be amazing. I think it will be great. Yeah. However, if you look at all the comic book franchise films he's been in, he's always been in the film that's ruined the franchise. It's never really been his fault, but I mean...
Disagree, because you're going to bring out Wolverine, aren't you? I think Wolverine was really ruined in X-Men 3, which Ryan Reynolds was not a part of.
Yeah, but that's fine, because
he was in...
because it's been retconned now. X-Men 3 never happened. And I blame that entirely on the tool that is Brett Ratner.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you see, he's not killed all the franchises.
But he's normally in the franchises roughly around the point where people start saying, oh, this is pants.
So Blade
Trinity, yeah. Mm-hmm. That kind of ruined Blade for everyone. Also, Snipes not paying his taxes.
Yeah.
That let a lot of people down. We don't mind if you go around killing vampires and stuff, but you pay your taxes, sir. You pay them. And, of course, Green Lantern.
Yeah, that I don't feel that was his fault.
No.
The film.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I don't think it's his fault. I just think he's a bit of an unlucky charm to have.
Fair enough.
Anyway, back to Spider-Man. Which has nothing to do with Ryan Reynolds.
Who knows?
Well, yeah, exactly. If Sony and Marvel have managed to strike this deal, who's to say Fox won't get in on it? Mm-hmm. Wolverine, for at least the last 10 years, has been a very popular member of the Avengers, so it'd be great to see him appearing in some Avengers films. Yep. Why not have Deadpool?
How do you feel about Andrew Garfield not being able to do it?
I like Andrew Garfield. Yeah. I'm quite sad that he's not doing it. I thought his Peter Parker was good. I thought his Peter Parker was on a par with Tobey Maguire's. Tobey Maguire got Peter Parker down really well, the kind of geeky, nervous around girls kind of thing. Except he kept pulling those stupid faces and that whole dancing down the street thing. You know, since when does Venom turn people emo? Well, Sam Raimi's fault, not Tobey Maguire's. Stop blaming the actors, Kieran.
That's literally what you've just done for the past 5 minutes.
But his Spider-Man was a lot better than Tobey Maguire's. Yeah. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was Peter Parker wearing a mask, whereas Andrew Garfield, there was a clear difference in character between the two of them. Anyone who reads the comics, it would be very easy to, not know that Spider-Man and Peter Parker were the same person because their personalities are so different. Spider-Man is there, he's quick-witted, always has something to say. He's very confident, whereas even, after getting his powers, you take his mask off and he goes back to being the shy geek who is quite clumsy and rubbish with girls.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think losing Andrew Garfield is a loss. Also, because of his size and stature as well, you really get that feeling that Spider-Man would be the youngest member of the Avengers, whereas Tobey Maguire is probably about the same size as most of them. So he looks a lot more like a Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire? Do you mean Andrew Garfield?
No, Tobey Maguire. He's because he's taller than Garfield, and he looks a lot more like a Spider-Man. Whereas the whole thing with Spider-Man in the comics is that for the most part he's only about 15.
Yeah.
It's only within the last 20 years I think that they've started actually putting him up to an adult age. I think he's about our age in the comics now.
Yeah.
Which, given that he's been going since the 60s, I'd quite like to know what his skincare regime is.
Web.
Web
Spider web.
Web in the face.
Who knew? Yeah. I didn't.
Wearing all that spandex.
Like that.
Yeah.
Keeps you young. So this has major implications for certain Marvel films, doesn't it?
It does. Civil War in particular. A lot of fans are going to be happy that he's appearing in Civil War because Spider-Man's Civil War storyline was probably one of the biggest ones in it. I mean, obviously, you've got spoiler alert here for anyone who hasn't read them yet. You do have the fact that at the end of the Civil War, Cap gets killed, which obviously is a bit of a big deal. And he did manage to stay dead for a couple of years, which is quite impressive for a Marvel character. But even now, even today in the comics, Spider-Man is still kind of reeling from the events of Civil War. It destroyed his marriage. It nearly killed his aunt. He spent a long time after the war had finished on the run as a fugitive.
Yep.
So it will be really good to see that. And of course, he's one of the few Avengers when he joins who actually has a secret identity. Steve Rogers, everyone knows about him. Iron Man, everyone knows about him by the end of the first film.
Yeah.
Thor is just Thor. Everyone knows that Bruce Banner's the guy that turns into the Hulk. And pretty much everyone else in it is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent anyway.
Yeah.
So Peter Parker revealing his identity to everyone, that's a big deal. That really is a huge thing. So if they go along with that, with him actually doing that, it would be great. But I think that's one of the reasons why they should keep Garfield doing it. Because are we supposed to just kind of suspend our disbelief, or are they going to spend the first half of Civil War very quickly hashing through a new origin story for Spider-Man? And then suddenly we realise, oh wait, yeah, this is a Captain America movie.
No, I don't think they will. I think they'll just they'll just introduce Spider-Man as Spider-Man, and we can expect an origin there. Everybody knows the origin of Spider-Man anyway.
Well, this is what I'm saying about the kind of suspension of disbelief sort of thing. There's a good picture there in his Iron Man tech armor that Tony Stark designed for him, which was pretty cool. Had like some extra legs and could change to look like other ones. Another reason why it's unfortunate that they're not going along with, like, say, the Spider-Man films that have already been set up is one of the really big things that happens at the end of Civil War is he decides for the first time in at least 20 years to go back to his black suit, which he'd given up wearing because it reminded Mary Jane of when she was attacked by Venom.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of big connotations in with that. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased about this. I think this is some of the best film news we've had in a while.
It is good, and it means that there's especially with it being Sony, that there's hope at the very least that other films and other characters could go that way. Wolverine and the Fantastic Four being the main ones that story-wise would be handy.
Wolverine's Civil War storyline is still one of my favourites.
It's because it's not a Civil War storyline. He just goes, let's go kill some people.
Well, yeah, I mean, for anyone who hasn't read it, the Civil War starts because of a character called Nitro, who has the ability to cause massive explosions without harming himself. And he basically kills a whole bunch of people, including a young superhero team that are kind of like reality TV stars that are just doing it for the glory. And that ends up prompting the Superhuman Registration Act. And at the very start, before the Civil Wars even started, when everyone's kind of saying, well, what do you think about this whole Registration Act thing in the Avengers mansion, he decides, I'm done with this, and he spends an entire graphic novel tracking down Nitro, and it results in Nitro getting some adamantium claw treatment, let's say.
Yeah.
And
Wolverine burning to death.
Yeah, Wolverine literally gets burnt all the way down to his skeleton and regenerates from it, which is just awesome. It's Wolverine. I think we actually had images from that when I did my Wolverine section.
Yeah,
and it was our first show, wasn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah.
You love you some Wolverine.
I do. He's so cool.
Reactions in the studio. How do we feel? Do we feel good about no Andrew Garfield? Do we feel good about Spider-Man? What?
Well, I was saying to Kieran, if it was the Miles, what's his surname?
Morales,
then they could have like Donald Glover play him, be quite fun. And then Kieran pointed out that it could potentially bring back Peter Parker in the comics, which would be nice.
Yeah, that's true. Miles Morales' character in the Ultimate Comics was brought about because Donald Glover had originally auditioned for Peter Parker.
There was that whole hoo-ha about it, wasn't there?
Yeah, I actually saw some stand-up of his recently He didn't know about any of it until one day he flicked on his Twitter and saw everyone was going mental about it. And he was just like, it's just an audition that I didn't get. It's not a big deal. So they based the character of Morales around him, and he actually voices him in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon now. So, I mean, if they did allow Glover to play, it would potentially mean they could bring back Peter in the Ultimate Comics, which, I mean, he is back alive, but he's not back as Spider-Man in the comics now. I did read something earlier today that was a little bit worrying. There are rumours circulating. Obviously, there are rumours circulating that it's going to be Miles Morales rather than Peter Parker. But because Donald Glover's a bit too old to play him and looks too old to play him because the character's meant to be about 13, the favourite rumoured at the moment to portray Miles Morales is Jaden Smith.
You know what? You all laugh and you all moan, but I'm going to throw it out there and say good. I want that to happen. I want Jaden Smith to get even more like egotistical and mental and show up to parties dressed as Spider-Man.
Like an all-white Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or, well, weddings, we should say.
I want that to happen. I mean, I thought it was quite good in Karate Kid.
I liked him in Karate Kid.
After Earth wasn't great.
I didn't see it, but that was out of recommendation from everyone who had seen it.
It wasn't great, but he was good in Karate Kid. Come on, we've all got on the Ben Affleck Batman mobile, haven't we?
Yeah, but that's because Ben Affleck has actually done some good stuff.
Okay. Well, he did Argo, didn't he?
Yeah, Gone Baby Gone.
Gone Girl's good too.
Okay, well, yeah, but Jaden Smith has done some good stuff. He dressed as Iron Man on a date. He shows up to public events looking ridiculous.
He has some very whimsical thoughts as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, I might have to look some of those up later to quote.
Just
Jaden Smith thoughts.
I'm in. I think it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who's listening, tweet us in with some of your favourite Jaden Smith quotes.
But imagine that. Imagine if Jaden Smith was Spider-Man, Will Smith is Deadshot. Is there going to be a Marvel versus DC kind of riot in the Smith household?
That would be great.
It would, wouldn't it?
Because Will would lay the smack down.
Will Smith's wife also in Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Oh.
Jada Pinkett Smith is Fishboone in Gotham.
He's just going to get beaten by both of his parents.
There you go. It's a rumour, isn't it? It's probably not going to happen.
That's a Marvel versus DC where I would side with DC.
It's a rumour. It might not happen.
It is a rumour.
Do you think they'll go along the 13, 15-year-old Spider-Man route, or do you think they'll make him older just because of the content that the Civil War's probably going to touch upon?
I honestly don't think that they will, purely because Miles Morales had no involvement whatsoever in Civil War. Civil War was set in the Earth 616 universe.
And it's all Peter Parker.
While there are hints within the comics that Miles Morales does exist within the 616 universe, it's not been revealed yet who he is or whether he is significant in any way. But yeah, I think they'll go with Parker. You're not going to get the rights to Spider-Man and then use Ben Reilly, his clone from the 70s. No, you're going to use Peter Parker.
Of course you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel it would cause too much confusion in an already saturated storyline for a movie.
And you've got to keep in mind as well, while the Earth 616 universe is well established, the Ultimate Universe doesn't have nearly as big a fan base.
Yeah.
And there are going to be lots of people who will have no idea who Miles Morales is.
Yep.
Whereas Peter Parker is a household name.
Mm-hmm. So in short, it'd be. But Spider-Man good. Who would you like to see as the next? Well, it's stupid asking you, isn't it?
Why?
Because you're going to go with Wolverine.
Of course I am.
Wouldn't you like to see Johnny Storm?
Well,
Reed Richards opens up so many stories.
The only reason I'd like to see a Johnny Storm is if he and Cap had some kind of showdown, given Chris Evans having played the Human Torch before. I would quite like to see that.
Yeah, they really should mention it, shouldn't they? If it does happen.
Yeah. One that I really want to see as well is obviously Doctor Strange will be coming out in Phase 3.
The film will be,
yeah.
not the character.
No.
I mean, he is a pretty flamboyant magician.
If he's appearing in Avengers, the Infinity Gauntlet one, I really, really want to see a bit where he and Tony Stark are having a bit of a discussion, and someone just butts in by saying, "No, SHIT, Sherlock," and they both just give each other a look.
Civil War.
Yeah.
So that was the news of Spider-Man. That would be great, wouldn't it? Superman in Civil War. Nuts. That was Spider-Man being, hopefully, going to be in a lot more Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And welcome back to the Nerdemic show. I was just saying that you can kind of imagine that song being played in a very somber moment in the Civil War movie, actually.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it would be clever
Appropriate.
as well. Yeah, appropriate.
Not trying to tell Marvel how to do their job, but...
It's already been on
Yeah,
the
so
game.
basically, if anyone out there is like in a band, like trying to start up a band, want to get some publicity, I strongly recommend that you call your band Age of Ultron.
It's not a bad shout, you know.
It's not a bad name either.
Infinity Gauntlet isn't a bad name either.
Yeah. Or if that's already taken, Infinity Gauntlet Part 2.
That would be a kick in the face, wouldn't it? Right, let's move on to TV and what has been the biggest TV news as of late. Not this week, perhaps, but Kieran's looking around like a madman, like he has no idea what's going on. But we are going to be talking about the newly announced X-Men TV series.
There's an X-Men TV series?
I know, right?
Wow!
Well, there's not one yet, but there's one...
I literally had no idea about this. I'm totally unprepared for what's to come.
Good. Well, then you'll have to do these things on the fly, my friend, because we've got a lot to talk about. And I haven't loaded... Oh, I have loaded the images in. So, do you want to explain what's going on with it?
Yeah. What we're going to do with this, and hopefully this can be something that we'll do in the future as well, if this pans out, is they've revealed literally nothing about this, other than the fact that Fox are doing a live-action X-Men TV show. So what we've done is we've taken a few of our favourite characters, or in villains' cases, some of our not-so-favourite characters, and we have decided to cast them ourselves. Now, we did set some strict rules for this.
Strict rules for this?
Yes, we did.
Okay, well, I'm going to...
we had to avoid using actors that have already appeared within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I don't think I'll have a problem there.
Nope, I think you'll be fine. Though, I mean, obviously there are some actors that have crossed over. Rebecca Romijn in Punisher and X-Men, Chris Evans, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Ryan Reynolds in everything that needs destroying, apparently. But we've tried to be strict in ourselves. We've also gone for actors that are known for TV roles. So they can have been in films, but we've preferably gone for ones that are better known for television. Rick's a bit unsure now.
Well, no, I've gone for people that are known for television, yeah, definitely. I feel some of your choices are a little bit... pushing the boundaries on that, but we'll see.
One of the things we took into account when doing this is while we're going for actors who are better known for their TV roles, a lot of TV shows these days, especially big budget ones, will have at least one or two ringers, film actors in them. You know, it's become a very popular thing now to have a show where like, one of the main characters is better known for their film work.
Well, yeah, loads of films like that, aren't there?
Yeah.
There's all the kind of... Kevin Bacon in The Following.
Yeah. Monk.
Yeah.
That new one with Sean Bean. Can't remember the name of it.
There's a new one. Game of Thrones? That's not that new.
No, not Game of Thrones. But yeah, Game of Thrones. That's an example of one.
Well, that's what I was thinking. We'll go down the list. I've kind of structured it for your photo viewing pleasure. So we're going to start where every X-Men discussion should start, with the X himself. It is very good. It's a very good job his name wasn't like Professor Coleman, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Yeah, because then they'd be his semen. Yeah.
See, I was hoping that you wouldn't have to say it and people would just find it funny. But no. Subtlety.
But based on the laugh we got in the studio, I don't think everyone got it.
Okay. Right.
You're too subtle for us.
It is Professor Xavier. There he is. There's an
The Seaman himself.
there he is in all of his glory.
Yeah.
Charles Xavier. It's a good job they didn't go with Charles then, isn't it?
Yeah.
That would have been better. That would have been funnier. Rats. Right.
Okay.
So do you want to begin?
Okay.
Well, we all know Professor Xavier. Telepath.
Yeah. So this one was actually one of the toughest ones. Georgie helped me with my list. So, obviously some credit has to go to her for the brilliance of it. But in the end, for Xavier, we decided to go with the British staple of television and film that is Mr. Paul McGann. Now, this picture, I got it just because, it's a picture of him hugging a wall. Mm-hmm. Either that, or if you tilt your head on your side, you can pretend he's dead.
Yeah.
This is an old picture of him, so he does look a lot younger in that one, which wouldn't necessarily be as appropriate for Xavier. But, I mean, you look at some of the characters he's played. I mean, he is one of the most unrecognised doctors from Doctor Who.
Do you know where I weirdly most remember him from?
With Nell and I?
No.
Oh, I'd quite like to see Xavier huffing ether.
Luther.
Luther, yes.
Yeah. Weirdly, that's his main role in my head. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Possibly because that's the last thing I watched with him in.
See, and then if they ever managed to get the characters from this show into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they could have a little bit of a dispute between him and Heimdall. Mm-hmm. That would be good.
Right. He's not bald. What do you say to that?
Scissors. A bald cap.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, no, what I meant was, do you have him doing a James McAvoy?
No. I quite want with this one. I want it to be, proper, true to the comics. Mm-hmm. So I would want him bald. Bald and in a wheelchair.
Bald and in a wheelchair. Just the way you like your
That's
professors.
a really mean thing to say to an actor that I really like. I want to see Paul McGann, hairless and in a wheelchair. If anyone tuned in just now, they think it was like a threat.
Yeah.
A really weird one. I'm going to shave and cripple him.
Do we have any other suggestions for Professor X before Kieran gets his wish and cripples the man?
I'm going to go misery on him.
I struggled to actually cast a Professor X.
What was the reason for that? I think I know, but what was the reason?
Because of the way that he's portrayed in the films, and I think James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart are both really, really good. It's really hard to be able to cast him in the show. I mean, he has to be in the show.
Well, this was the tough thing for us as well, because we were going for actors who were known for their TV roles. Before doing X-Men, Patrick Stewart was best known for Star Trek, The Next Generation. And how can you get a better Xavier than Patrick Stewart? That's just some of the best casting ever made.
Well, before you all say that it can't be done, you can't get a better Xavier than Patrick Stewart. My choice for Professor Xavier is the formidable, the exceptional David Cross. Best known for playing Dr. Tobias Funke in Arrested Development. He's been in some scary... I'll admit, he has been in the Scary Movie, and he has been in a few movies. He was in She's the Man with Amanda Bynes, so that doesn't count as a movie, full stop. But best known for his role as Tobias Funke, I feel the moustache adds some extra...
just go on Google Images and search for bald actors?
No, he's been my choice from day one. As soon as Patrick Stewart came on the scene, I was like, no, better actor than that. Which is a lie, because Arrested Development came later.
Yeah,
but
much
still.
later.
I feel the moustache brings some, much needed formidability to the role.
Distract people while he reads your mind.
Yeah, exactly. the shirt really sells it as well.
Also, let's face it, this is a guy who's going to struggle to like reach high shelves where they keep the breakfast cereals, so he can keep some stored in his mustache.
Exactly. I'll admit that some of my choices for the X-Men could be considered camp. There are a bunch of guys who run around in Lycra. Guys and gals run around in
Rick's
Lycra.
vision of the X-Men TV show is a cross between the film and Glee.
Yeah. To be honest with you,
it has to have a guy in a wheelchair who can sing.
Yeah, I originally, when I was thinking this, I kind of was like, maybe he'd make a good Cyclops, but then, of course, Professor X. And my Cyclops...
You've got a good Cyclops.
I've got a good one. So, who do we think? Who's the best Professor X? Paul McGann or David Cross? Silence in the studio.
Yeah, cool.
It's more of a rhetorical question, but...
rhetorical question where we waited a good few seconds for an answer.
We'll move on to the next, possibly one of the more difficult characters to cast in X-Men, and that's this fella, Magneto. Eric, how would you do on that?
Well, first of all, I looked at some of these pictures. Obviously, Ian McKellen doesn't exactly look like that.
No.
And that does kind of look like one of the costumes that the bloke from 50 Shades of Grey might have in his basement. I'm quite happy with my choice for this one, actually. Again, this was a tough one, and I originally had this guy down as Xavier, but then thought that he'd be a much better Magneto.
See, the issue that Magneto has is he's got to be old, though, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's if we're going by the comics, he's got to be old, but at the same time look physically imposing, as he does there. I mean, I wouldn't pick a fight with an old guy who was that ripped.
I think to be honest with you, your choice is a great one.
Yeah.
Shall we?
So my choice for Magneto is Ian Glenn, who most people will know from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I just think he would be all over this part. He's got it down with the whole kind of wiser, older.
Do you know
character.
what? He almost looks like you've just mashed Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender together.
It really does, doesn't
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. That was intentional.
Just in one kind of hilarious X-Men creating blender that we've got going on here, and this is the product. This
is what happens when you put mutants in a blender.
I'm with you on this one. I feel this is a great shout. Again, it's so difficult to cast Magneto.
Yeah. What about you, Birkin? Did you have one?
I didn't, but I actually completely agree with that.
Of course you do.
So there we go. Unanimous.
Yeah.
Unanimous Ian Glenn. Then, now, obviously, we're going to have to move on to the biggest, most difficult part to cast.
Yeah.
It's like trying to recast Iron Man, is what it is. But the question is as well, is this character even going to make it into the TV programme? It is Wolverine, who is possibly the biggest superhero of all time.
I think they'd be making a mistake if they didn't have Wolverine in. I think the only way they could get away with not having Wolverine in is if they stayed very true to the comics and had the original X-Men team that consisted of Cyclops, Jean Grey.
Hang on. May come up later. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I think I'm getting at least 1 point on the quiz now.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, and then maybe introduce him a couple seasons down the line, as they would have done with the comics. I struggled with this one purely because of the fact that while I really enjoyed Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine, I think the casting of it was wrong. Because they took a guy who was over 6 feet tall and really handsome and made him into a character that is actually about 5'8" and not meant to be attractive, but yet somehow still manages to get the girls. Mm-hmm. So I actually had 2 choices for this one.
Yep. Well, okay, right, let's go. Let's do this.
Okay.
Your first choice?
I don't know what the first picture is. So, okay, this was the first choice I went for, who is Dustin Clare.
He's a very non-attractive short man.
Well, no. This is why I made two choices. This is the choice for fans of the films rather than the comics who are expecting a tall, muscly, good-looking guy to play the role. This guy, he's best known, you see him in his costume there, as playing Gannicus on the Spartacus TV series. He's a really good fighter. Like, that show, it's basically just blood and porn.
He looks like an actual gladiator. When I say an actual gladiator, I don't mean, in a ring killing each other, Roman time gladiator. I mean like Saturday night entertainment gladiator.
Yeah, yeah. I think one good thing about him as well is he's also Australian. So for fans of the Hugh Jackman Wolverine, he does kind of tick all the boxes.
Didn't want to go Canadian actor.
I did look at a few Canadian actors, but I decided, why go for a specifically Canadian character when Australians, seem to be doing all right in America these days.
Yeah.
Especially in the superhero scene. My second choice, this was much more along the lines of the comics. I had to pick an actor who, while not being immediately attractive in that kind of Hollywood style, does have a good fan base of female fans. So, the guy that I have chosen is Norman Reedus.
You do have an understanding of what the word attractive means, right?
But, I wouldn't class that as Hollywood attractive. That's the thing. He's not, one of those chisel-jawed, perfect skin guys. He's got bags under his eyes, he's got a crooked nose, that kind of thing. But
just slamming Norman Reedus down now.
No. But the thing is, women love him, and he is considered a good guy. He used to be a model. So I think that Norman Reedus could potentially be a good Wolverine for that reason. Because he's not going to be that kind of chiseled Cyclops type character, but you could believe it if he got with a character like Jean Grey. So, that's why Wolverine was a tough one to do, because he's not ugly, he's just not as attractive as a lot of the other characters.
In my head, comic book Wolverine, before any of the films, in my head, he was short, like short, 5'6" kind of short, and still built, but fat. Like, had a pot belly on him.
I've never seen him with a pot belly.
Like that kind of thing.
He's hunched quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But, this is the thing. He looks so much more stacked than some of the other characters do, because they got the same amount of muscle. It's just stretched out over a lot more bone.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably have to bulk up a little bit for it, because, he's not, like, as skinny as he was, say, in Blade 2, in his role as Daryl in The Walking Dead. But, I think he would need to bulk up a bit for the role.
Yeah.
Like his head on Dustin Clare's body.
Okay.
That would be it.
Now we're just meshing people together to create your ultimate man. It's getting pretty strange. Who did you have? You had a good suggestion, but upon the strict TV rule, I feel you may be disqualified on that.
Well, I wasn't aware of these rules. So I went with Carl Urban, because I felt that he has the physical presence, and he's a strong character as well, and a strong actor who people could take really seriously in the role.
Yeah.
Too much of a film actor, though. Now.
Definitely too much of a film actor. Also, I don't rate him that much as an actor.
Do you not?
I think he does well enough for the roles that he has, but he's never done anything that's really wowed me. Let's face it, Dredd, it was just, him going around saying, "I am the law," which he did better than
Stallone did. Yeah.
I am the law.
It's just offensive.
Spot on.
I liked him as Bones.
Yeah, he was alright as Bones, but my only problem with Bones was he was playing it far too much like Bones in the TV series. He'd even changed his voice noticeably to be more like McCoy. I think he'd be a good choice, but again, unfortunately, film actor, too much of a film actor.
Doesn't matter. When it comes to casting Wolverine, I have got the perfect choice.
Also, actually, in saying that, Wolverine probably would be one of those characters you could get away with having a Hollywood actor playing.
Yeah, true.
So come on, let's see who you've gone for.
Well, the man needs no introduction. It's Tom Selleck. What? Just
Do you have any characters that don't have moustaches?
yes, I do. Some of the female ones. But come on. He's even got the Wolverine kind of hand gesture going on there. I know it's not a hand
I
gesture.
could
but-
imagine him calling someone Bub as well.
Exactly. Couldn't you just? He's a gentleman who you can imagine having the name Logan.
Like,
Yeah. He's
Okay.
from a generation of Logans.
I think the problem though is that he does look about the age Wolverine should look.
Yeah. Also, you just be going, no, don't date Jean Grey. What happened to Monica?
Yeah.
That's what would be happening a lot of the time. But as far as I'm concerned,
Also, going back to the Friends thing, he did spend a lot of his time smoking cigars on that show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, I've called this. I feel Tom Selleck is the best choice.
It's the age thing that throws me, man, and the fact that he always plays really nice guys.
Yeah. There you go. It's going to be... Have you seen Magnum P.I.?
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it is. I thought you were going to make a point then. I was like, where's he going with this? Could we see Wolverine in one of those Hawaiian shirts?
Exactly. Can you imagine the crossovers? It'd be glorious.
I can. And it's going to haunt me.
So, as far as I'm concerned, Wolverine is Tom Selleck.
Right, who we go with in the studio? So the choices are Dustin Clare from
In fact, I'll-
Spartacus.
Throw some images up.
Yep.
Dustin Clare.
Norman Reedus.
Dustin Clare's got a girl's name. Norman Reedus. Norman
And
Reedus
that's-
got an old man name.
And that's it. No one else.
And the
No.
mighty
No.
Logan. I mean, Tom Selleck.
Who are we going with in the studio?
Norman.
So we got one,
Norman.
two for Reedus.
I don't know.
That counts as Tom Selleck. He just doesn't want to admit it. Come on!
All right, well, it's still 3-2 then. So
I get-
Norman Reedus is our Wolverine.
Outrageous. Right, now it's time to cast this lovely lady. Slightly psychopathic towards the end. Crazy.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Slightly as in devouring entire star systems.
Yeah. It's Jean Grey. How are we feeling there? It's got to be cast very well.
Now, I actually think Jean Grey is one of those characters where we could also get a big star in, because she dies so many times, it wouldn't cost as much as some of
So
the other
you're
actors.
suggesting Sean Bean? I like it.
Sean Bean would be a great Jean Grey. There is actually, for anyone who doesn't read the X-Men comics, there is actually a thing within the comic book universe known as the Jean Grey effect,
Yeah.
which is where if a comic book character dies, they will inevitably return, as Jean Grey has done on 16 separate occasions.
Good for her.
Since her creation in the late 60s.
So, would you like to
Yeah, so...
cast her?
Yeah, this one we weren't overly certain on.
Okay.
Definitely not as strongly as some of our other female characters, but
I feel this one's gonna get a kind of unknownish actress come in and do a really good job.
yeah,
Something that everyone will be like, "Who's that?" I don't know who this is, and then everyone will be like, "Awesome."
Obviously, I'd love it if they had some unknowns in this show, because as an actor myself, it's nice that unknown actors get their break.
I feel you got a touch of the Xavier about you. You've just that. Should we send that in as your demo tape?
Audition done.
Sorted.
I'm at the wrong camera. Audition done.
Looking at the right camera is definitely not something that an actor should be able to do.
Wait.
Okay.
There we go. So yeah, for this one, we went for a bit of a more someone who started off in TV but has kind of made a name for herself a bit more in film as well. We have gone with the lovely Olivia Wilde.
There she is. Tron. House. House
Yeah.
MD.
House
Great
was
show.
just awesome.
It was.
All over.
Oh, why didn't we cast Hugh Laurie in any role? Hugh Laurie is Magneto.
Hugh Laurie would be a great one to bring in later on, but he's you know, you're gonna like waste an entire season's funding on just paying him.
Yeah, fair point.
He was like the highest paid TV actor in the world for a while.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, so kind of goes without saying, she can play the intelligent character. We've seen her playing a doctor on House. Of course, Jean Grey does kind of play Doctor a bit in the show, both with Injured X-Men and with Wolverine and Cyclops.
Yep.
Hey. And, you know, you've got to have someone there who is attractive enough to believably start a rivalry between Cyclops and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's my choice.
I'm with you. You had a suggestion.
Yeah.
One that might spark debate from someone.
I went with
Nope.
Sophie Turner.
Ah.
Cast as Jean Grey for the Apocalypse movie. And she's
Oh,
already
well,
in
if we
Game
can
of
do
Thrones.
that, I want to change mine to Famke Janssen. Yeah, why not?
Because she's more of a movie actress now.
But if we could go with people who've already been cast as Jean Grey, why not?
Hey, let him
Oh,
let him
go on,
argue his
go on.
corner.
Well, if she's already been cast in the role and they're going for a young Jean Grey, they can easily put her into this show. And that way also not only get people used to seeing her as Jean Grey, then a lot of people can back that character more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we did consider this as well. One of the problems with that, though, is if you've got her playing Jean Grey in the films and in the TV series, then you've got to have Hugh Jackman playing him in the TV series, and you've got to have McAvoy or Xavier playing him in the TV series. And I don't think they're willing to go on that kind of budget.
Why can't, if she was playing Jean Grey, then it leads to the hilarious casting of Peter Dinklage as Cyclops.
Because Peter Dinklage has already been in an X-Men movie.
I know. But still. Fine then, Aidan, what's his name? The guy who plays Littlefinger as Cyclops.
I could see him being in the show, but
Yeah.
not as Cyclops. He'd make a great villain.
Toad, yeah. So, Olivia Wilde or Sophie Turner? Where are we going?
Well,
Is it down
I'm
to
with
me?
Wilde.
Is
You know, I'm with Wilde.
I'm going to say I'm with Wilde as well. Just because, you know, Game of Thrones commitments.
Also, I think it'd be kind of creepy if we had Norman Reedus going after her because she's like a teenager.
Yeah.
He sort of went after Beth in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, but the actress who plays Beth is my age.
Yeah, but the character isn't.
No, she's 18. Okay, so on
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
next
And,
one.
and nobody's afraid of Tom Selleck going after these women. Now it's time
Let
to
it go,
cast. No. Well, here he is, Cyclops.
Cyclops.
I'm going to blow you all away.
Ooh. I'm worried about this one.
Yes?
Yeah, because I know who you've picked, and I can't believe I didn't think of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I think Fox and Bryan Singer will be ashamed that they didn't think of it
I
themselves.
know, right? So Cyclops, Laser Eye Man, as he prefers to be referred to by his friends.
Yeah, we all know this.
Scott Summers, love interest of Jean Grey.
Well, husband
Yeah.
for a time. Okay, so my choice for this is Owen Bailey. So you can see him there. Look at that handsome devil. Owen Bailey, probably best known for his role of Pinocchio in Once Upon a Time. This one, he's quite a tough one because Cyclops suffers from what I call Red Ranger syndrome. He's got to be a character that everyone likes and all the kids really want to be until the Green Ranger comes along.
Yeah.
Or in this case, Wolverine. So we've gone for a character who was from a show where he's very likable in the show, but can also be a bit of a tool.
Okay, yeah.
And as opposed to like my casting of Norman Reedus, you know, he really did need to have that kind of chiseled jaw and, you know, good look thing going about him, like James Marston in the film. So that was my choice for him.
Birkin?
I went with Dan Stevens from Downton Abbey because he was already pretty big on that show and he could be somebody that could be, you know, a big lead that people can back behind and, you know, he's not that bad looking, to be fair. So,
I've just realised we've both gone for guys with like really nice deep blue eyes,
Yeah.
which you're never gonna see. This was kind of a weird one. Georgie thought I was a bit weird with this. I don't like his jaw for Cyclops.
Yeah. No,
I kind of want Cyclops to have a bit of a square jaw.
Do you know who he looks better for Angel?
I think I'm with Birkin on this one until my choice comes along. And really, come on, Cyclops. Let's cast Russell Howard as Cyclops.
Why?
Well, look at him. He's attractive. Mm-hmm. He's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why did you pick him?
Because, well, let's be honest. Large amount of the comedy is going to come from where are those laser beams going?
Actually, he'd probably be a much more effective Cyclops because, like, it is just one beam. It's not two separate beams. So, like, his beam would be a lot wider.
Yeah.
Hit a lot more people.
There you go. Part of me... see, I've cast it.
You're going to hell.
Part of me wants to think that, he'll hear about it and get annoyed and sue us, and then we'll get publicity.
I don't think he would. I think if he's watching, this is going to be on the next series of Russell Howard's Good News.
And I'll probably get, I'll have to publicly apologise, and I love publicly apologising.
Oh.
See, so I'm right. There's no discussion. It's going to be Russell Howard. Let's move on to Storm.
Okay. You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Russell Howard as Cyclops.
Good.
Hashtag Russell for Cyclops. Yeah. Okay, so Storm.
Cyclops' Good News would be a great TV programme.
So Storm, again, tough, but for different reasons. One of the non-Caucasian members of the X-Men.
Mm-hmm. From Kenya.
Yes, where she was worshipped as a goddess. So we went through a few different choices for this one. Obviously she has to be quite strong. She's very beautiful as well. She actually spends quite a few on and off times being with Wolverine. And of course ends up married to Black Panther.
Yep.
Who's going to have his own movie film.
Movie film?
Movie film.
Not just a movie.
No, it's
not just a film.
It's a movie film.
Good.
Yeah. So Georgie and I decided to go for Kat Graham.
Oh, she is.
Best known for her role as Bonnie on the Vampire Diaries, where she plays a witch. Much like Storm in some ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my choice for it. I've kind of explained it already, haven't I? Why I went for it.
Birkin, did you choose anybody?
I picked...
oh, yeah, you did. I like your choice.
Yeah. I picked Gina Torres, who starred in Firefly. I mean, she's already known for playing strong female characters, and she pulls them off really, really well. So I thought she'd be a really good Storm.
I'm not a huge fan of hers. I mean, I did love her in Firefly, and I like her in Suits, but she, for me, was one of the reasons why Joss Whedon's Angel started going downhill. When she appeared, that's when the show started getting a bit pants, from my point of view. So I've always kind of held a little bit of a, hatchet towards her kind of thing. But no, I agree with you on being the kind of strong woman that Storm needs to be.
She's really good in Hannibal.
Yes, Hannibal as well. Yeah, she's great in that. Yeah, I could actually see myself agreeing with you on this one.
Wait, though, because strong female ladies, Storm, why aren't we casting Oprah? Come on. She's been in films, but she's most known for TV.
Yeah, and she does look like she could do with some powers over humidity, at the very least. While we're talking about, strong single females, why are we not talking about Beyonce?
Beyonce's...
The acting brilliance from Austin Powers that is Beyonce Knowles.
Everybody knows that Beyonce's too busy with
In fact,
babies.
I'm genuinely surprised that going through all these different actresses right now, we haven't had Kanye West come into the studio and say, I'll let you finish, but Beyonce would be the best Storm.
Yeah. Fair point. Oprah. Why not? Perfect for Storm. I see, the logic there is Halle Berry, big shoes to fill. Mm-hmm. Oprah.
I genuinely think that the audition for Storm it should literally just be one line. And if they can do it better than Halle Berry, then they get the part. And that one line should be possibly one of the worst lines ever written in a film. From X-Men 1. Do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
I love it.
Well, what about rubber? That's different. That has a different effect. What about non-conductive materials? When they get struck by lightning, nothing.
Okay, are you really gonna go into this?
Help me, I'm going off on a tangent. I can't stop.
I was gonna say, it's not because superhero films are known for quotes that are directly...
Name one.
No, I don't think I need to be honest.
Because you can't.
Not off the top of my head.
Because superhero films are written by modern-day Shakespeares.
Let's cast... Wow, this cast. Beast. There he is.
Yeah, so...
Hank McCoy.
One of the things we tried to do with this was something that's become quite popular in TV and film these days is go away from expected casting.
Yeah.
So whenever possible, we took a character who normally would be, say, Caucasian and, decided to throw that idea out the window. Beast, obviously, is a great opportunity to do that, seeing as though, for the majority of it, he is going to be big, blue, and hairy.
Yep.
Unless they go with the original X-Men comics, where he is just a big guy with hands for feet, kind of thing. So we decided to go for Chad L. Coleman, who most will know for his role as Tyrese on The Walking Dead.
Yep.
Now, I went for this picture because he's in a blue shirt, so we're halfway there.
He's in the blue shirt, and he's got the beard and the hair that kind of, if you blued them up, that'd be good.
You're pretty much there. He's either on his way there or to playing an obese Papa Smurf. But yeah, I mean, the thing with Chad L. Coleman is he's
not obese.
No, but compared to Papa Smurf, who is about 3 inches tall.
True, yeah.
He is a bit above his Smurf BMI.
Everyone's obese compared to Papa Smurf.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay. But yeah, he's got the right build, I would think, for Beast, being like quite muscly but not as toned as some other actors.
Yeah.
Which I think would work well for a Beast.
I feel I was just laughing because I reckon I should go to Weight Watchers meetings and just shout that slogan. Everyone's obese compared to Papa Smurf.
Go to hell.
I could well be. Yeah, I get what you mean. I see where you're going with that. Especially to contrast, what's his name? Skinny Beast guy from the X-Men films.
Yeah, which I didn't think was great casting for Beast because...
Yeah.
You look at the front cover of X-Men 1 and you see him there. He is easily the biggest member of the team before he gets blue and hairy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like his character of Tyrese is it's such a good Beast-like character. It is a character that at heart is a pacifist and very intelligent, but when push comes to shove, will get violent and, will let the Beast out. So I think
similar to Tyrese, then is that what you get?
Yeah. I mean, he could basically just play Tyrese in a full body blue wig,
tiny blue baby. Hang on. I wonder if I did put my choice for Beast in. I did. Okay. Now going along. Kieran's seen my choice for Beast. Going along the let's make X-Men a little bit camper. Why not? Beast is the appropriate character to make as camp as possible.
I take the day off work to come and do this show, right?
Yeah.
And you do this to me.
And in today's celebrity culture, there is one man who just screams Beast.
He is
okay?
Beast.
And that's Louis Spence. Imagine him, blue and hairy, dancing around, beasting one off.
There is actually a clip that I'd love to be able to show right now from Russell Howard's Good News of Russell Howard turning into Louis Spence. Mm-hmm. That would just be so perfect. Cyclops and Beast are actually the same person.
So, yeah, well, maybe Chad L. Coleman's a better choice, but, I think the man needs the work. Let's cast, this one.
Who are we going for with Beast then?
Chad L. Coleman.
We're going Chad L. Coleman.
As funny as Louis Spence would be, No. So, let's cast Gambit.
Right, I've got this one down.
Yeah,
And
I think you did.
I know that Birkin agrees with me.
I think there's probably no explanation needed.
Yeah.
There's probably only a reveal of
Josh Holloway. All the way.
Look, I mean,
look at him. That is Gambit.
yeah, you've definitely got a kind of Gambit, Josh Holloway.
I don't even think it needs explaining. I just think, yeah, no, I'm not even going to...
Best known for Sawyer on Lost.
Anyone got any better ideas?
Yeah, I do. Gambit.
Of course you do.
Gambit got some card tricks up his sleeve. Who else does good card tricks? Paul Daniels. Come on. You know I'm right. The picture there as well. He's even trying to do the Gambit mask. Look, you see with his hands. I've incapacitated some of my studio cohorts. So, Josh Holloway, Gambit. There he is.
I thought I had it with Holloway, and then you brought out that wild card.
I know, right? I'll admit I have used a slightly older photo of him, so he does look a bit younger.
Oh, that might be an issue.
Yeah. Well, you say that if Paul McGann can play Xavier, then Paul Daniels...
But Paul McGann is older now. I used an older picture where he was...
No, but what I'm saying is he's got hair, so if Paul McGann can shave his head to play Xavier, then Paul Daniels can get invasive hair plugs.
See, now, I think Paul
to play
Daniels would
Gambit.
actually be a really good one to bring in as Gambit in the films. So like, but the one set in the modern day, so that we could have him meeting Rogue, because he would probably be about the same age Gambit should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paul Daniels.
So,
let's cast Rogue. You just
Rogue.
mentioned her.
I've got to find where I've got it written down. Okay. This one. Do you want to do this one actually, Georgie? Because this was your find. No. Okay. You don't remember who it is, do you?
Yeah, I do. I just won't be able to speak about it as much.
Okay, so going down, you can kind of see which TV shows we've been looking at here. We pretty much just IMDb'd some of our favourite shows. Mm-hmm. We've gone with Lauren Cohen. There she is. Found a picture of her, not from The Walking Dead. I think this one's actually from Supernatural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The issue I have with your casting of Jean Grey and Rogue, in my head, you could probably switch them around and then,
I did accidentally at one point, didn't I?
See,
Yeah, but the first few things I saw her in, she was actually playing a British character. And it wasn't until The Walking Dead where, you heard that southern accent, which is just so Rogue. It's so Rogue. And she's got the strength, and also the fact that, she's very attractive, but you can't touch her. Rogue has to be a good-looking one. If anything, she has to be the best-looking one, just so that it's that whole kind of torture thing. And imagine her and Josh Holloway together. They would have beautiful babies if he survived the process.
I actually didn't cast Rogue, weirdly, but you had an idea, didn't you, Birkin?
Yeah, I decided to go a bit out of the box.
It's not that out of the box.
Well, I went with Summer Glau, just because, she's had pretty bad luck with TV shows, always getting cancelled.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought...
then why are you casting a Ryan Reynolds in my show? Don't give me TV's Ryan Reynolds.
TV.
Cool.
She's not TV's Ryan Reynolds. There's other people out there who can take that mantle.
She's a show canceller.
She survived Arrow.
She did. She's
Well, no,
the voice.
she didn't.
Well, she did.
That's why Arrow survived.
She's the voice of Supergirl in the Justice League animated movies.
Is
Yeah, and they've not been cancelled. It's difficult to cancel a movie, but an animated movie. But she made it through that.
she? Okay, fine.
There you go. No,
I'm still sticking with Lauren.
I don't think she's curvy enough to be Rogue, but she could possibly be Jean.
that's the issue. All these female characters.
See, I could
Kind of.
based on the movie Serenity, where we get to see her, really dishing out the martial arts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I could actually see her as a character like Psylocke,
Yeah.
who basically creates telekinetic swords and stuff like that, and is a bit ninja.
Maybe even
badass.
Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, moving on, we have to cast this fella, Iceman. Iceman. My casting for this is supreme, although it may not fit some of the criteria.
Okay, so with this one, again, we decided to go with the non-expected racial kind of thing.
Yeah.
This
one works. This one works a little better than Beast because obviously, with a non-expected,
we get to see
him
as a normal person.
Yeah,
kind of
not
thing.
just covered in ice.
Yeah. Also,
did you just go with this because he's the coolest person you could possibly think of?
Yeah. He's a bit childish.
Yeah.
Which I think you kind of need for Bobby, and also you need to have characters in this that bring the comic relief. I think Iceman in the films was way too serious. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
so many cold puns that he could have came out with and didn't.
And also,
Batman and Robin.
well, he did after he beat Pyro, but it was a terrible one.
Nobody's expecting him to go all Mr. Freeze, but something cool would have been nice. Anyway, this man can bring the cool.
Yeah, I also think Marvel kind of owe him a bit.
It is Donald Glover.
Yeah,
there he is.
Childish Gambino. Yeah, he could also write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
Could do, yeah. Do X-Men related stand-up to keep all the cast entertained.
I think he'd bring the comic relief, but I think he could get serious when it needed to as well. So,
Iceman. What's the first thing that comes into your head when you think of Iceman?
Ice.
Vanilla Ice.
Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer, famous for playing who?
Batman.
What? Yeah. Okay, in a decent movie.
Oh,
It wasn't that bad.
Top Gun. Yeah.
Top Gun. Who did he play in Top Gun?
Iceman.
Iceman. And Val Kilmer needs the work.
Yeah. Although, last thing I saw him in, he'd packed on the pounds a bit, hadn't he?
Yeah. So, what are you saying? Icemen can't be fat.
Well, I'm just thinking if you had a guy that size and his powers were ice related, you'd much more likely call him Snowball.
Which he kind of originally wasn't he? He was more of a snowman.
Yeah, he was more of a snowman.
Yeah, Val Kilmer. I'm all up for that. Let's cast Kitty Pryde. Just the weirdest picture of her. She's like, hello.
This one, I didn't decide on the order for this. You've literally just done this, so it looks like I only watched like 3 TV shows.
Yeah.
Because I've taken someone from the same TV show as Donald Glover.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone with Alison Brie.
Good job.
Alison Brie, again, she's showed range in things like Mad Men and Community, and we know that from Community she can kind of play the whole sweet and innocent thing, and she plays a teenager in the show despite the fact that she's in her 30s now.
Good.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of went for her because she's got that whole nice, sweet thing going on with her, but she's also a bit fierce, as you see in Mad Men.
How did you feel about Ellen Page?
Wasn't a huge fan of Ellen Page.
You weren't.
I liked her briefly, but it didn't last. I thought, oh, that's quite good. No.
Okay. All right then.
She was all right.
This is your choice, isn't it?
I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Lindsay Fonseca,
That's the one.
I think.
Not a bad choice.
Yeah, she's in Agent Carter currently.
Okay. See, that does kind of break the rules a little bit.
Yeah, but she's a very, 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 very non-important character currently.
There would also be the problem that she wouldn't be able to take part in many missions because she'd have to spend all her time at home listening to all the women her father had slept with.
What are the cool stories of Barney?
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
it's...
How they model?
Yeah. I know. I got the joke. It just wasn't majorly funny.
Oh, fine, mister, I'm going to tell a funny story and leave everyone hanging.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm not too sure. I'm not the biggest fan of Kitty Pryde as a character.
I do like Kitty, though. That's the thing. I like the relationship that she has with Wolverine, and you know, because Wolverine, you know, he's lost so much. You know, he's lost children, he's lost wives and loved ones and stuff like that, and he finds this teenager who looks up to him as a father figure, but he's allowed to kind of open up to her in that paternal way because she has the ability to be invulnerable. he doesn't have to worry about her getting hurt so much. So for me, Kitty is going to be quite an important character.
Presuming that Wolverine is in it.
Oh, Wolverine had better be in it.
It's cast Angel.
Angel, have we decided who we're going for Kitty?
I don't mind, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed. What about you guys? Who do you think?
I don't mind.
No one cares about Kitty.
They're both good choices.
They are. So Angel. Oh yeah, I remember who I went for this. So Angel, the angelic goddess that he is, went for Alexander Skarsgård.
He does have a bit of Cyclops about him as well.
He does have a bit of a Cyclops about him, but I think we were considering him for Cyclops at a point. But I could see him there with those big angel wings flapping about, trying to be a useful member of the team, even though his powers pretty pants. But the thing is, the reason why we went for him as Angel as well is if you're going to have Angel, eventually there's going to be a point, hopefully, where we'll have Archangel, which is kind of his evil version as one of Apocalypse's horsemen. And as Skarsgård's proved with True Blood, he can switch between the good guy and the bad guy quite well and be a likable bad guy, which I think is the important thing with Archangel.
I was going to cast, for my Angel, I was going to cast David Boreanaz because,
Yeah, not a bad choice.
Same reason that I've cast Val Kilmer as Iceman. I mean, it's not going to take that much for him to get used to the name, is it? But the Angel look, nobody more angelic than this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad.
More angelic, but you can almost see the horns protruding through his forehead.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the only problem is I don't think Angel will be that big a character and wasting Neil Patrick Harris on him.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Neil Patrick Harris, it's Xavier or nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or, yeah.
That's how he gets all those women. Psychic powers.
Right, let's have a look at Nightcrawler. Weird one. You've got a good... I think, really, especially image looks-wise, you've definitely nailed it.
Yeah, we went through a few for this guy, but we ended up going with Robert Sheehan.
There he is.
Who, TV-wise, is best known for Misfits.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in a couple of films, but nothing...
Was he in the Beatles film?
Was he?
A film about the Beatles? Or something? He's been in a film.
He was in Season of the Witch with Perlman and Nicolas Cage, which, of course, just from hearing that cast, is going to be a fantastic film.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman and Nicolas Cage. I mean, how that film didn't get any Oscar nominations, I don't know.
Hey, Ron Perlman is good.
Everybody loves Nick Cage.
Ron Perlman.
Okay. As long as he's playing Ron Perlman, it's fine. But, I mean, that was a film where they were playing British Crusaders who did not drop their American accents.
Good.
He was actually one of the few saving graces in that film. He was really good in it. But yeah, he's got the small size for it. Again, he's quite a quirky, potentially comedic character that could bounce off Donald Glover quite well. And I'm sure he could pull off a German accent. Alan Cummings did. I mean, he does look like he could be a young Alan Cumming. So
yeah, fair. Birkin, you had for this.
I had Pedro Pascal,
best known as Prince Oberon. I mean, it would be difficult to play Nightcrawler when your eyes have been popped out your head. But apparently, what I see on the screen isn't real life. So I feel he could probably do it.
What do you mean?
So apparently his head didn't explode at the end of that Game of Thrones episode. It did, they just made it look like it did. So he's still alive. He's still wandering around. Which makes the previous leaps make sense. You know, when they're at the start of the next episode and they're like, previously on Game of Thrones. And you're like, but that already happened. Because apparently it's something called the magic of cinema.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm still trying to get my head around the concept myself. But he's still alive. That's what we'll take from this.
He's still alive?
Yeah.
So is he going to be in the next season of Game of Thrones?
Is he?
No.
Oh, okay.
But why? He's still alive.
But his head didn't get popped.
Maybe then, I don't know. Let's ask the executives.
We have
their contact details.
we have tangented, which is a word I've just made up for what we just did. He's a bit too old for Nightcrawler.
I think he's more tired.
Sheehan.
Not Sheehan, no. Popped head guy. Can't remember his name. Pascal, that's the clown. Yeah, so I think Sheehan's a good casting choice.
This was one of our favourites, I think, within the cast list. I think I would fight for him as Nightcrawler.
That's weird.
Like, literally, in the studio right now.
Let's cast... Oh, no. It went back. What is happening? Let's cast this guy. It's Colossus.
Colossus, yes. So Colossus, you've got to have someone who is very big and muscly, basically.
Yeah.
As they did with the first two X-Men films. Someone who's big and muscly but doesn't have any lines whatsoever. Now, these days, with all the superhero films going around and stuff like that, it's 10 a penny for those huge muscly guys. But because we had to keep it quite TV-orientated, we stuck with True Blood and went for Joe Manganiello.
He's certainly muscly.
Yeah. Problem is, from this picture, it does look like he skipped leg day at the gym.
He does look like he's got tiny legs. Yes.
And no crotchal region.
He's very... he'll be good to look at.
Yeah. Now, the thing with this is
Let's
this
see.
will affect the casting.
Buff,
This is one of those ones where it'll affect the casting of Kitty as well, because Kitty and Colossus have, had one of those kind of on-again, off-again relationships throughout the comics for a long while. Although, in fairness, the reason why they were off again for so long was because he was dead for about 5 years.
Good. Yeah, okay. That's a reason.
But, Jean Grey effect.
So you've gone with, obviously, with the amount of giant muscly superheroes around, they're 10 for a penny. I agree with you. That's why for Colossus I've gone for something a little different. Still very physically imposing, but not ripped. Mega, but still would be a great Colossus. It's the Big Show. Look at him. He'd make a great Colossus. He's huge. He's enormous. He's really tall. Colossus is supposed to be tall. And I feel like there's too many muscly guys around. We should have someone who is genuinely scary. And I reckon his Soviet Union accent would be next level.
How many have we got left? I don't want to play this game anymore.
We've got 4. And my Mystique is worse.
Oh. Okay.
Right. Let's cast this fella, Sabretooth. I haven't got one for Sabretooth, so you're all right. You're okay, you're good. Although I was going to go Mel Gibson, because he did a really good job of playing the Sabretooth.
How are you going to get Mel Gibson on a Fox show?
Well, it's not up to me. I'm not the producer.
We'll make sure.
I'm just casting.
We'll make sure that everyone in the studio is a white Christian male, and he'll be fine with it.
That works.
We're going to get in so much trouble for this episode. I'm really glad that no one watches.
Yeah, me too. Mel Gibson, because he did a good job of Diego, and he was the Sabretooth.
I'm going to be honest. I'd love to see Mel Gibson in his kind of Mad Max days playing Sabretooth.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Wouldn't
Are
it?
you on about Ice Age?
Yeah.
That was
Oh, it
not-
wasn't Mel
No, that
Gibson, was
wasn't
it?
Mel
Not
Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
It was that guy. That guy that sounds like Mel Gibson.
Okay, so anyway, we're tangenting again. I've gone for John Bernthal for this one.
Yeah, this is where... I feel he looked good, but he's very, 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 very movie-orientated now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's been in some massive movies.
He is a bit, but I mean, Sabretooth's only really going to be a cameo character. I think. I don't think Sabretooth would be kept on as like a major
Yeah.
one. He'd pop up every now and then. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things with Sabretooth in the comic books that they haven't managed to get in the films. The X-Men will be dealing with some crisis, or Wolverine will just be on some downtime or something like that, and this guy will just come crashing through a window and start attacking Wolverine for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And it's always completely unexpected. So I'm cameoing him,
Right, let's move on, because we are
word-upping him.
like smashing this section hard for time. Let's cast Mystique.
Okay, so for Mystique, we've gone for someone, who we know can be, sexy and sultry, but at the same time dangerous. So we've gone for Natalie Dormer.
Did you just watch a lot of Game of Thrones recently?
Pretty much what we did was we went through all of our favourite shows on IMDb, and whenever someone came up, we thought, hey, that'd be good. We did that. At one point, we pretty much cast the entire thing from Game of Thrones and Walking Dead and decided we've got to start watching more TV.
She's in Elementary.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
She's Moriarty.
Is she?
Oh.
Weird.
Did not know that.
If you were planning on watching that, he did say spoiler
I
alert.
did say spoiler alert.
We should have won them. If we say spoiler alert, plug your ears.
That's not like something that people need to be warned about. If you hear spoiler alert, you go, oh.
Oh, I'd better listen in case it's about my favourite show.
Right. Yeah, I can see Mystique.
Also, we know from stuff she's done in the past, she's absolutely fine with like TV nudity.
Yeah,
So.
fair point. Well, I was thinking Mystique as a character is you can paint it, you can paint the character, but there's going to be a lot of CGI involved. Now, who do we know is the best CGI actor of all time? Yeah, it's Andy Serkis. I know he's not short of work at the minute, but come on, just because Mystique is a woman doesn't mean that we can't CGI Andy Serkis.
He is better known for films.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But,
Like,
you know.
as in, primarily only known for films.
No. I'm sure he's done some TV. None that come to mind, but I'm sure he has done some TV. You know, the behind the scenes.
Let's put this one to the studio. Dormer or Circus?
Dormer.
Yeah. I think you're all wrong. Let's move on and cast Toad. Andy
Toad.
Serkis would be a good shot for Toad as well.
I love my choice for Toad, because I just think he'd be so good at it.
Yeah.
I've gone with a Misfits character again.
You need to watch more TV programmes, man.
You know, I've never even seen Misfits.
Good.
We've gone with Joseph Gilgun. This is
There,
picture
he's
of him
definitely got.
in Lockout, which again is an absolutely terrible film that he carries on his shoulders. And we went for this picture as well because let's face it, he looks like Toad.
He looks insane though, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he is insane in the film.
Good.
Yeah, really good actor. Everything I've seen him in, he's wowed me. I think you just have to look at that to see how good a Toad he'd make.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. Let's cast, and our final cast is Pyro.
Okay, so for Pyro, we've gone with Joseph Morgan, who we literally went with because I think we were going to cast him as someone else, but then thought, you know what, he actually kind of looks like a bit of a pyromaniac in that picture. Look at him, he's just eyeing that building and thinking, why isn't that building on fire?
It looks more like he's debating on what he should have for lunch.
Why isn't my lunch on fire?
Could be.
If my lunch was on fire, I could control that fire and make that building on fire.
I'm gonna.
No, what he's doing is
I'm gonna report you to someone.
no, what he's actually thinking right now is he's just walked past that guy who's talking like audibly too loud on the phone, like quite rudely, and he's actually, you can't see it there, but there was a bench that he was sat on eating his lunch, which he's left behind while looking at the building. And he was quite angry about the whole thing, but now he's thinking to himself, you know what, today was a good day because I didn't set that man on fire.
Do you remember when we invented a word for how often we go on tangents?
Yes, it was like 3 minutes ago.
Oh, you seem to have forgotten. That's all.
I'm trying to paint a picture of the character here.
Right. What's he famous for? Don't say acting.
He's in a show at the moment called The Originals.
Spin-off
Okay.
from the Vampire Diaries.
I wasn't going to say that because I didn't want them to think it was another Vampire Diaries. I'm trying to show people that
But
I watch
he wouldn't
more than...
exist without the Vampire Diaries.
But I don't want people at home to think that I only watch like 3 TV shows. Netflix doesn't have
do.
as much as you would think.
Yeah, it really does.
Just because
doesn't
some of them happen to be in the same show, they're also in a lot of other shows.
Yeah, Rick.
it? Stop defending him. We're having fun poking fun at him.
Yeah, Georgie, stop being a good girlfriend.
Right, so that was TV and film. We're hugely running through time, so I feel let's just jump into the quiz. How do you feel about that?
Do it!
Jump into that quiz. So, I've made a picture quiz this week. Woo! I'm expecting some big scores because I feel, especially you, Kieran, I feel this week's quiz is a bit easier. I've made it a little bit easier. I don't want this 2-3 out of 10 malarkey that we're used to. So I'm expecting some high scores.
I'm ready for it.
Good.
Remember, if you are watching at home, you can tweet in your answers at Nerdemic Show. We'd love to see what you guys...
See how you get on with these. Right, let's go question number 1. And I feel maybe a bit unfortunate for some of the younger people in the audience, in the studio. Really, it's just me and you. I would like you to give me the name of this cartoon villain.
I actually have no idea.
I recognise it.
No? Okay, all right. I'll make it easier. What cartoon was this guy from?
Still have no idea.
I really recognise him.
I'm really surprised you didn't pick him as Magneto.
I was going to, but then I realised he's a cartoon. And...
Have Andy Serkis play him.
Right, so I need you to tell... We'll make it easy. What cartoon was this villain from? I'd say it's kind of like an early 90s cartoon TV programme.
You expect me to remember that far back? I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
Yeah?
Gone with a wild guess.
Good, I like it. Wild guess. I'm expecting some wildness from your guess. So move on to question number 2. Something that Kieran should get. Can you name me this supervillain? Or just villain? I won't tell you which comic book franchise this villain is from.
I have no idea.
Really?
I really don't.
I think I know who it is.
Okay, interesting. Cool character.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want the supervillain name, not any of his alter egos.
That's a villain, you say?
Yes. Look at the skull face and tell me that that's a particular heroic look.
Ghost Rider?
Well played.
Okay, let's move this on.
You're not doing well, are you?
No.
Right, question number 3. Name me this anime character.
Yeah.
I had to put an anime question in, and the only anime I know, apart from Pokemon, is what you see here. I will accept both his Japanese name and his English dubbed name.
Only if you write it in Japanese characters.
Yeah, agreed. So I need you to give me the name of this anime character. Question number 4. What game is this? This game certainly came out before you two were born.
What is that?
Yeah.
I think I recognise it from somewhere, but I don't know why.
If you have a chance after the quiz to ever play this game, do it. Because it was awesome. Recently, a remastered version of this game came out on Steam, if that actually helps anybody.
I'm not sure I know what the name of the game is. I know, who the main
If
character is.
If you know the main character, then you know the name of the game.
Okay. Then that's another point for me.
Whee! So that's question number 4. Can you name me this game? Question number 5 is... What is the style of martial arts that is used by Green Arrow, Nightwing, and Robin? So what is the name of the martial arts style practiced by Nightwing, Robin, and Green Arrow?
I feel like I should know this.
More predominantly, Nightwing.
Can I just say, as someone who's done Rick's Pokemania quiz many times, these are actually what Rick regards as easy questions.
Because I always go for questions that I know the answer to. So, because I feel if I just go and Wikipedia something, with the exception of one answer on this one question on this quiz. But if I go on Wikipedia something, then it's kind of just a bit hypocritical of me to ask these questions. They're all questions that I would have a good guess at. Focus more on Nightwing in this scenario, okay? But it was also practiced by, obviously, Robin, if Nightwing does it, and Green Arrow. So that's question number 5. Question number 6. Well, this picture just had to be done anyway. But question number 6 is, in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the books, how many children does Elrond have? So presumably if you've seen the film, you know how many children he has in the film, or how many named children he has in the film. But in the books, how many children does Elrond have? Before you ask, yes, this is one of the questions that I know the answer to, and I can even name them. If there are any. Maybe it's a trick question. But I only want the number.
If it is a trick question, then I too can name them.
Well played. Let's move on to question. Also, let's be honest. Why hasn't there been an Elrond Agent Smith crossover? It would be excellent.
Mr. Aragorn.
And Red Skull.
Yeah. Basically, Elrond in sunglasses after getting a really bad sunburn.
Yeah. Question number 7. This is a picture, and it is considered to be the first form of anime, which was shown across Japanese theatres. But what year was this from? I will give it to the closest person in the studio. So this is genuinely considered to be from the first anime. And what year was it? So the closest to the actual year will get the point. I wanted a question that would stump Callum, because I knew he'd have no idea on this. But he's not here, so...
We'll ask him next week.
Yes.
Just ask all the same questions next week.
Okay,
He'll never know.
You'll probably still get very few.
Yeah, I know.
Question number 8. Come on, Kieran, you should get this.
Nope.
Really? Power Rangers is actually based from which Japanese show?
Oh, I need this.
So if you didn't know, Power Rangers, Power Rangers as you see it there, is actually a Japanese creation. And what actually was done for American audiences was they took all the Japanese footage and redubbed it and then reshot with other actors, American actors.
Yeah.
But what I want is the name of the original Japanese show.
I found that quite upsetting, actually, realising that all my favourite Power Rangers, they're not actually in that picture.
Yeah.
It's just some Japanese guys. I did wonder why some of them got a lot shorter and skinnier.
Yep. So what I want is the name of the original Japanese show that Power Rangers was stolen from. Question number 9. Which X-Men is missing from this picture? Kieran should get this. But, yeah, so all I want is which X-Men is missing from this picture. If you don't know what that is X-Men number 1. So which X-Men is missing from this picture? In the 60s this came out.
I actually have this issue.
Do you?
Yeah.
Some of my best paintwork again, look. You'd never know.
It's very well done.
Never know that there's a X-Men in there, would you?
I love how they even admit in the first issue how useless Angel's powers are by giving him a bazooka. He's going to fire that and just go flying off in the other direction.
Right, so what I want to know is which character is missing from the cover of X-Men issue 1. Finally, question number 10. According to one of the Riddler's riddles in the 1960s Adam West Batman movie, what does a turkey do when he flies upside down? That's a genuine riddle from the 1960-something, I think it's 66, Batman movie starring Adam West. That is one of Riddler's riddles. What does a turkey do when he flies upside down?
Isn't there a shark repellent episode?
That's the film.
It's in the
The
film.
film.
Yeah. It's the shark repellent
I
bat
do.
spray.
I do love the Riddler riddles.
They're great, aren't they?
My favourite one's the sparrow in the tree one.
Yeah. Good job I didn't go with that one then.
Yeah.
But so I need the answer to this riddle. So, there are 10 questions. I'll run through them again. Can you name the cartoon series that this guy was from? What is the name of this supervillain? Can you name this anime character? What is the name of this game? What is the style of martial arts that is practiced by Nightwing, Robin, and Green Arrow? How many children does Elrond have? This is a clip. This is a shot from the first, what is considered to be the first anime. What year did it come out? What is the name of the original Japanese show that Power Rangers is based on? Who is missing from this X-Men #1 issue? And what does a turkey do when he flies upside down?
Just because I put a riddle in my one last time.
Yeah, and then I was looking at it. I was like, the Riddler's riddles. Yes.
No anagram this week.
No.
Right, let's swap pages, guys.
I do have a tie-break question, which Kieran will love. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. You will love
I
the
want to
tie.
know what it is.
I'll do the tie-break question, even if there is a clear winner. So, question number 1: what is the cartoon series that this guy is from?
Georgie's gone with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You don't seem confident in that.
No. Birkin's gone with The Mask.
Harry's gone with Batman.
And Kieran's gone with Gotham Knight.
As we'll get to later, Gotham Knight is an anime, not a cartoon. Callum would have you for that.
Oh.
This is from, I don't know whether his name's Lindbergh. Does that help?
No.
Biker Mice from Mars?
Oh!
No.
There's some kicking themselves going on here. Birkin and
Love
Harry,
that show.
ever heard of Biker Mice from
Yeah.
Mars?
Yeah, I've,
Okay.
Had the toys and everything.
Yeah, I know, right? It was awesome.
I mean, I was 22 at the time.
So you've still got the toys. Don't
Yeah.
you? Question number 2. What is the name of this supervillain?
Georgie's put Doctor Doom.
Birkin's put Taskmaster.
Harry's put Taskmaster.
and Kieran's put Silver Skull.
Oh,
Did
come on,
you
let's
just
face
describe him?
it. No, most like supervillains, they are basically just describing. It's say what you see.
It is the Taskmaster. Do you know what his superpower is? If he watches
He's the
something
master
happen,
of any task.
yeah, if he watches something happen, he can replicate it.
Cool.
Isn't he a Deadpool villain?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was. That's why I assumed you
Actually,
knew it.
he's one of the only villains which can't copy Deadpool.
Yeah, because he could basically master any martial arts style, but because Deadpool's is so unpredictable and erratic, he just can't deal with it.
Nice.
And he also, weirdly enough, doesn't have... He has a backstory, but he doesn't have an alter ego. He's just always been the Taskmaster. Weirdly. Right, question number 3. What's the name of this anime character?
Georgie has attempted to get his Japanese name, which I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Egg.
Eggman.
Nope, just egg.
Just Egg.
How do you say that?
I just put Ellen.
Oh, Ellen.
Ellen?
He's not that far off, is he?
Harry put Krillin. Is that right?
Yep, and Kieran put Krillin as well.
It is Krillin. Or his Japanese name is Kuririn.
Not egg.
No, really.
Yep, so that's from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it is.
Question number 4. What is this game?
Georgie has put weird snail thing in a top hat, maybe a duck.
Birkin's put DuckTales.
Harry's put Battletoads.
And Kieran's put Scrooge McDuck.
It's DuckTales.
Is it?
DuckTales the game, yeah.
Sweet.
See, I thought that, but then I said I knew the character's name, and you said if you know the character's name, you know it, so I put Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, well, Scrooge McDuck, and you go, what was Scrooge McDuck in? DuckTales.
He had his own TV series.
Yeah, but the film he was in was called DuckTales.
Well, I was still stuck on TV mode from the X-Men thing.
DuckTales. Right. Question number 5. What style of martial arts are Nightwing, Robin, and Green Arrow good at?
Georgie's gone with Jiu-Jitsu.
So's Birkin.
Harry's gone with Kendo.
And Kieran's gone with Jin Kwon-do.
Now, if I were to tell you, Jin Kwon-do, did you just mash a load of martial arts?
No, it's meant to be Jeet Kune Do, I think.
If you look at what's Nightwing's weapons?
Batons.
No, what's the name for them?
Oh.
Nightsticks.
Eskrima sticks.
Okay.
Because Eskrima is a Taiwanese form of martial arts. And that is the correct answer. Of fighting with 2 batons. They are genuinely called Eskrima sticks. I'm not making it up. They are.
Okay.
Yeah. Only Nightwing's modified them to have electricity coming out of the end.
Yeah.
But there you go. Moving on to question number 6. How many children?
Georgie has put 3.
Birkin's put 8.
Harry put 7.
And Kieran put 12T?
12T. Good elvish word there.
12,
12T. One of you's right. Who do you think it is?
Me.
No. Do you know you're right, Georgie, or did you just guess?
I had an inkling because my house.
No, you didn't know you were right because you've put 3 and then a question mark.
Yeah, because I had an inkling. I wasn't like.
Dead certain.
Yeah.
You're doing better than me.
He had a girl, Arwen,
Yeah.
and he had 2 sons, Elrohir and... what's his... That's going to annoy me. I've got
John.
it written down. No, it begins with an E. Elrohir and...
Ellen.
Eladin or something like that.
Egg.
Eladan and Elrohir. Yeah, who in the books are a lot more prominent.
So when you said earlier that you could name them,
Well, I
because
could.
you've got them written down.
Oh, yeah, I wrote them down just in case, but yeah, I could name them. Yeah, they're in their books.
I could name them if I had them written down.
They both use 2 swords, two swords, one in each hand. They're pretty bad boy with them. Yeah,
Screamer swords.
Eskrima. Eskrima. And they're sticks.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Screamer with an S.
Let's move on to question number 7. When was this the first, what is considered to be the first anime?
Georgie has said 1938.
Birkin's put 1972.
That's really way off.
Yes, Birkin, it is.
Harry put 1906.
And Kieran put 1941.
Harry is the closest. The correct answer is 1917. As early as that. So, question number 8. What is the name of the TV program that Power Rangers is based on?
Georgie has gone with Power People.
Birkin's put Super Cereal.
No, it's
Is
Senai.
it? Oh, sorry. I put L on there.
Yeah. Harry put Robo Warriors.
And Kieran put Dino Rangers.
Power Rangers, Dino Rangers. It is Super Sentai.
Ah, it's fine.
You were close. I feel I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Super Sentai. Yeah. Try watching it. It's hilarious. It's a lot better than Power Rangers. Mostly because there's no whiny American teenagers in it. Question number 9. Which character is missing from the cover of this X-Men issue 1?
Georgie's gone with Jean Grey.
So's Birkin.
So's Harry.
And so's Kieran, but he's got a slash, and he's put beside it Marvel Girl.
Which is actually her X-Men name.
I have actually got written down, and I was going to give it to Jean Grey, but being as you went there, I have got written down Marvel Girl.
So we're not giving it to Jean Grey.
No, we'll give it to everyone. But yeah,
Okay.
I need the points, man.
she is known as Marvel Girl.
See, that the one question I get right, and you give it to everyone.
I was going to try and take out Beast, but I thought it's way too difficult.
Yeah.
So I went with the easiest one. But you can clearly see there Iceman, the bottom, who's clearly more a snowman and is throwing snowballs.
Could I just say, actually, as I do have this issue, first of all, Magneto isn't in it. And secondly, it's insanely boring. I'm surprised they got a second print.
I thought Magneto wasn't it? I thought Magneto had taken over a plant.
The very first issue is literally just Xavier introducing himself and his pupils, and they show off a few of their powers, and that's pretty much it for the very first issue. The first graphic novel Magneto appears in, but the very first comic he doesn't.
That is X-Men issue 1.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But he's not actually in the comic, he's just on the cover.
It's weird.
That's advertisement.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at question number 10. According to the Riddler's Riddles, what does a turkey do when he flies upside down?
Georgie said drowns.
Back in hasn't put anything.
I forgot.
What to answer, or you?
I literally forgot to put an answer down.
Good.
Harry put it chokes.
And Kieran put gobbles up.
Kieran is correct. It gobbles up. Yeah. What does a turkey do when he flies upside down? It gobbles up. The most ridiculous thing ever. Right.
Can I say my favourite one?
Yeah.
Just because I love it. Right. What weighs 20 pounds, sits in a tree, and is dangerous? A sparrow with a machine gun.
20
I've heard that
pounds.
so many times.
I don't know what the exact weight
It's
is.
6. Only because I was looking at this earlier today. But 20 pounds is pretty heavy for a sparrow.
I've got one.
Yeah, with a machine gun.
It's pretty light for a sparrow with a machine gun. Then
I don't know how much sparrows or machine guns weigh.
Got a little riddle. What's the longest word in the world?
Oh, I do.
World. The world. World is 5 letters. The is 3. Boom.
I've heard this
Solved
one.
it. Done.
I have heard this one before.
No idea.
I can't remember.
Smiles. Because it's longer than miles. Because it's got the extra S. Get it?
Let's do some scores.
What word gets shorter by adding 2 letters?
Can we not do this?
Okay.
What is it, Kieran?
Short. Says it becomes shorter. That would have been. All right, so Georgie has scored an impressive 2 out of 10.
Birkin has scored 4 out of 10.
Ooh.
Harry has scored a fantastic 4.
And Kieran has scored a fantastic 3.
Oh.
How long were you hoping that someone got 4 so you could say a fantastic 4? Right, you're going to love it, but you two can't take part, unfortunately. And Kieran's
Can
going
I
to hate
answer
it.
this one to catch up with them so we can have another tiebreaker?
No. Turn around and look at the screen. You're about to see a Say What You See, and I'm going to need the name of a superhero.
Okay.
Specifically a superhero comic, but it's the superhero's name. Okay, say what you see. What is going on there? Work backwards if it's easier. Just say what you see. Just say what you see.
Master Fist?
Iron Fist.
What about Iron Fist? See,
There is a character called Iron Fist in the Marvel Universe, but...
Yeah, there is.
and what's so special about the Iron Fist?
He's got that martial arts power, hasn't he?
But so okay, if you can't figure out what the guy is, he's from the movie 300,
I'm just trying to think of a
and
name
it's
for
not
that.
him. There's a few of them.
Oh, is it Scorpion?
No, Scorpion Iron Fist.
This is a character they're
We're
going
not allowed
for.
to say anything, aren't we?
Yeah,
Is
Okay.
it immortal? Iron Fist?
No, it's basically what you do is you're taking each word of what each of those are and trying to put it together to make a superhero's name.
Master Iron Fist?
she just said it. It's the Immortal Iron Fist.
Oh, was
right,
it
yeah.
Immortal Iron Fist? Oh,
They
okay.
were the immortals in 300.
Oh, of
That's
course
the
they
Iron
were.
Fist. That was closest.
I was going to go with 300 Iron Fists.
Definitely would be a great superhero.
Yeah.
I was going to put an iron in there, and I thought that was too difficult, too
Yeah,
easy.
we
Sorry,
Made it easier.
put an iron in.
So we still don't have a winner.
No, we don't.
Georgie
have
got
one.
it.
But it's good because it means you don't win, so you don't get a point.
That's fine.
Because that then brings Georgie up to 3, right? Which is equal to you. So you still not
So we
winning.
need a tiebreaker.
No. I didn't prepare multiple tiebreakers.
I don't care. I'm still 1 up on you and 2 up on Callum.
So I'm going to throw it out there and say congratulations to the both of you. You are this week's winners. I'm
you.
just glad Kieran didn't win. So we're now going to move on to some science.
Yeah,
Which is a kind of quiz-esque.
Yeah,
In a way.
yeah. Today's science is a bit of a quiz-esque kind of thing. So, and it's also a bit of a picture quiz in that I've got pictures that don't really relate that much. So I'm going to read out to you guys 3 science facts, but one of them is not a fact. It's something I've just made up. Okay?
Glad to see you just taking all my bits from other shows.
Yep, it works. So your job is to figure out which one is the lie.
Okay.
Okay?
Go on then.
I'm going to use all my acting skills here.
Right.
Okay, so let's throw the first picture up.
It's
Right,
interesting.
so during the Second World War, when food rations were low, Russians would use ground-up bricks and cement to bulk out their flour supplies and use small amounts of mercury in their baking because it would rise with the heat and cause the mixture to rise with it.
What does that have to do with bears?
Because they're fighting in a war and they're Russians. Of course they ride bears.
Yeah, all right then.
So, yeah,
Right.
that's the first fact. Any questions around that one?
Bricks and what now?
Things like bricks and cement and that kind of thing to like bulk. It's kind of like cutting drugs, but with flour. They'd use bits of ground up bricks and
Okay.
cement.
We are
All right.
talking the poisonous mercury here, right?
Well, keep in mind this was still in a time where people would use arsenic as a face powder.
Oh, yeah. Good
And
point.
they used to have mercury in that as well.
Yeah, and they'd use mercury to treat hats. That's where the term "mad as a hatter" came from,
And they used
because the mercury would drive them mad. That's actually where "mad as a hatter" came from.
Yeah, but that's not part of the quiz, right?
Well,
True,
no, I'm
true.
just-
That one's the true one. That one's the true one.
There are 2 true ones.
That one's one of the true ones.
Okay, let's move on to the second one.
Good.
If the oceans dried out, the salt left over would cover the continents to a depth of 5 feet.
Well, not true, because if the oceans dried out, then all the salt would be just where the oceans used to be, not on any of the continents.
What I'm saying with this one is, if you were then to take that salt and cover pretty much like it and cover all the continents with it, it would be 5 feet thick.
Okay.
Any questions surrounding that one?
I asked my question.
Try and call my bluff.
I'm going to wait until the last one.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to explain,
Okay.
depending on what the last one is.
If you removed all the empty space from the atoms that make up all the humans on Earth, the remaining mass could fit inside a sugar cube. Now, of course, this one would be physically impossible, because who would be there to make it into a sugar cube at the end? But the idea behind it is that atoms are filled with empty space. And if you took that empty space out, every human on Earth the size of a sugar cube.
What are the chances that it's all true?
Hmm?
What's the chance that all of them are true?
There is a chance, because I mean, the one that I made up, I did not go on Google and actually look up and see if it was true.
Okay,
So
because I was thinking...
I could have actually just made up an actual scientific fact here.
I was genuinely thinking that what might have happened is that you read a fact and went, yeah, I'm going to change some of the details of this.
That might have happened.
Okay, right, good. Okay.
I will say, if that was the case, then it wouldn't be something really ridiculous like it turns out it would actually be 6 feet of salt rather than 5 feet. No, I'd go for something bigger than that.
Okay. That was my original thought when you mentioned that. So
It'd
we have
actually be 5.2 feet of salt.
brick and mercury in flour. We have big old salt continents, and we have
Tiny sugar cube
tiny
people.
sugar cube people.
Any questions?
No, I'm going to go for a guess. See, I think I read somewhere that if you did that with the atoms on the planet, then everything would go into a teaspoon. So I feel that sugar cube could be the same. So I feel that one's true. Okay.
Okay.
I think the whole salt thing with the oceans, every continent by 5 feet, could be true. I think what you probably did is just read the story about Russians and completely changed all the ingredients that are used to put in, thinking that you could get bricks from rubbled buildings or something like that. So I'm going to call the proverbial BS on the first one.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I know for a fact that back in the day they used to actually use bone to thicken out flour, so it wouldn't surprise me if they did cement and everything like that. I think with the ocean thing, there'd be a lot more salt with the size of the ocean compared to the continents. I think it'd be a lot more.
Well,
Logically, she's not crazy.
I mean, keep in mind with that one, the oceans are like a very small percentage of salt.
Yeah, but we
Mostly
don't
water.
even know how deep they are in some places.
Okay.
So
Cool.
we couldn't even probably estimate it entirely.
Okay. So you're saying 2 is false.
Yeah.
I'm stumped. I've checked my answer like 5 times now. So I'm going to go with a gut feeling and just say 3 is wrong.
Why's that?
Gut feeling.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say 2 before she said that about that, but I think that just confirms the point more that we don't know everything about our oceans. So I'm going to go along with that. Number 2.
You're going with 2. Okay.
So I've got a 1.
We've got a 1, 2, and a 3. So someone in here is correct.
Good. Let's leave it at that. Move on.
Okay, on to comics.
Go on.
The lie was number 1.
Yes! I knew you'd made it up.
And you were actually right about how I made it up as well.
Come on, I'm such a good judge of character.
The Russians did use things like ground up cement and bricks to bulk out their flour supplies, but they did not use mercury as a means of making it rise. So there was the lie. Yes, so the other 2 are regarded as scientific fact.
Boom. Boom. Come on. Yeah. Smartest person in the room. Come on. Okay, let's move on to comics before my ego kills everyone. And, well, we have just over 40 minutes left of the show. I feel that's probably enough time to discuss what we're about to discuss. I feel there may be an argument. There may be some fights in the studio. But we are doing Marvel versus DC, in fact. And this week it is... Got a picture? Hawkeye versus Green Arrow.
What was that?
Yeah,
The way you said
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
I'm just trying to really subtly mock Hawkeye.
Also, there's something in the
I've got
background.
an army. Yeah, well, we've got a Hawkeye.
Hawkeye versus Green Arrow. Which one sounds
Green
better?
Arrow's actually got his apprentice in the background.
Yeah?
Arsenal or Red Arrow.
Red Arrow. I think.
Depending on what you want to go by for the show.
I
Okay,
don't
look,
want.
it's
I don't
just-
want to go by either because I'm on Hawkeye's side.
Look, it's just a picture I googled. Okay, it's
You mean
not.
you didn't make this with your mad paint skills?
No, I didn't make this with my mad paint skills. Someone else made it with their even madder paint skills. Right, so I thought in the spirit of sportsmanship, I would let my clearly disadvantaged opponent take the lead.
Cheers.
I didn't mean you as a person were disadvantaged. I just meant in the topic that we have
I
chosen.
mean, I'm not
just
doing well today. That quiz was appalling. Okay, so Hawkeye, also known as Clint Barton.
Well, hang on. Here's how we were going to do it. Okay, we were going to do description of the character, bit about them in the comics. Okay, then we were going to move on, and then so you were going to do a description of Hawkeye and a bit about his character. Then I was going to do a description of Green Arrow and a bit about their character. Then we were going to move on to decent comic books. If you want to check this character out, check their comic book out, this specific comic book out, and then I'd do that. And then we'd move on to how they were portrayed in film and TV.
Okay.
And then we do an overview, and then we decide the winner. So we go back and forth. So it's not just a lot of information about Hawkeye, and then a lot of information about Green Arrow. Hopefully there will be some debating on the way. But carry on with Mr. Clint Barton. Who's called Clint nowadays anyway?
Eastwood.
Yeah.
Old.
Well, I mean, the character was created in 1964.
There you are then.
Okay. So, the character was created in 1964, which I was actually going to give to you, seeing as though Green Arrow was created first. But then I realised, well, Marvel have just improved on, what DC had already set up, so I'm not giving you any points for that one. Originally appeared in Tales of Suspense number 57. Now, this is where I think I'm going to get big points for this. Created by Stan the Man Lee.
Yeah.
Any character created by Stan Lee, he's got my seal of approval. let's face it, is Stan Lee.
All right, fair enough.
And also...
what about Dupe? What about Homer the Ghost? Homer the Happy Ghost, in fact, created by Stan Lee.
I'm sorry, what's wrong with Dupe? I believe Dupe 1 is...
worst character.
I did not think it through when I really went for it with that one. Okay, so team affiliations. The Avengers, obviously. Avengers Academy, the Defenders, the Great Lake Avengers, the New Avengers, the Secret Avengers.
So just basically every
form of the Avengers, yeah. The Thunderbolts, the West Coast Avengers, the Wild Pack, and the World Counter-Terrorism Agency. He's been partnered with Black Widow, Mockingbird, notable aliases. He has been Captain America, very briefly. The Golden Archer, Goliath, which he took from Hank Pym, and Ronin, which is a very cool character. Abilities: Grandmaster Archer, uses a variety of trick arrows, superb athlete, exceptional arm strength, enhanced eyesight, master martial artist, tactician, acrobat, marksman, and swordsman, and he's an experienced pilot. Then, of course, there's Goliath, which I'm not going to go into too much, just mentioning that Clint himself has been his size and mass manipulation. But I'm going to stick to Hawkeye because we're talking about the character of Hawkeye, not Clint Barton. So he actually started off as a reluctant villain, a guy who was always getting into unfortunate situations. After appearing, I think, 3 times as a villain, he eventually was recruited into the Avengers and joined them. The reason why he was a villain was because he had a thing for Black Widow back in her bad girl days.
Of course. And
got kind of pushed into doing some naughty things that he didn't really want to do himself, where he was a good guy at heart. I'm going to leave it there for my description of him. Let's hear what you've got for the
wonderful Green Arrow.
Robin Hood.
There he is. Oliver Queen.
Robin Hood.
Well, funny you mentioned Robin Hood. His character came about because he had an obsession with the Robin Hood legend as a child, and therefore went along that
as
kind
all
of
rich
route.
kids do.
Yeah, there you go. Son of a very wealthy family, inherited it. A lot of that. There's several different backstories, obviously, as you will imagine, as there is with a lot of characters. If you go along the TV series and some other comics, he was stranded on an island where he learned all of his skills. If not, then he just got fed up with his city being in such a state and went and learnt to become a bad boy. His skills, he obviously, you can see, very similar to Hawkeye, to be fair. They're very similar characters. Master martial arts, brilliant archer, can fire 29 arrows in 1 minute, I think, or something like that. So
impressive.
The comic book says, hang on, I will consult 29 arrows per minute is what he boasts to be able to shoot.
Accurately?
Yeah, deadly.
Does it say it?
It doesn't say it. No,
I could shoot 29 arrows in 30 seconds. I'd just get them all out at once. They probably wouldn't hit a target.
I reckon it'd take you longer than a minute to configure that on a bow. So he's trick arrows, very known for his trick arrows. I'd say more known for his trick arrows than Hawkeye is, because he has such hilarious trick arrows, such as he uses bolos, so obviously things that tie people's legs up and stuff like that. He has time bomb arrows, and his most famous one, or infamous, if you will, is his boxing glove arrow, which is always hilarious.
You love going for the DC characters that fire boxing gloves at people, don't you?
Well, it's just funny. How are you going to make an arrow non-lethal? Boxing glove on the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do love how they kind of worked around that in Arrow. With him firing through a boxing glove. That was great.
When it comes to... One of the good things about Oliver Queen and the Green Arrow, is that he's had so many kind of wards over his time. He's had so many sidekicks that he teaches and go on to do good things. Like, obviously, Arsenal, Red Arrow, Speedy, Canary and things like that. So many people that are affiliated with him. that he uses really well. He is a bit of a Batman character. The problem that he has in his, obviously, comic book universe is that Batman is very similar to him. They're both rich kids. They both have no superpowers, so use money and ninja-like skills.
As we've said on a few occasions, the first series of Arrow, before it started getting good, you just sit there thinking they couldn't get the rights to Batman, could they?
There is an actual thing from one of the comics where Oliver Queen is visited by Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, they are kind of...
Yeah, and Bruce Wayne says, "Did you ever have any original ideas?"
Yeah.
It's interesting. They are different in some ways, but they're kind of pretty much the same character. But it does work quite well in the Justice League, because Batman's thing is he will not kill anyone, whereas in certain comic books, Oliver Queen will kill people and has kind of consequences, moral consequences of that, especially in my comic book recommendation and things like that for him. He has killed people and he does kind of see the world differently because of that. He really, one of the main claims to fame when he first came about was because he appeared in Green Lantern's comic books. So in the early 70s, he was with Green Lantern, which was highly acclaimed because it dealt with issues where Green Arrow was kind of more... he spoke for more radical change and things like that, while Green Lantern was very authoritarian, wanted to work in law as he should, and he was very bound by that Green Lantern core ideology. But Green Arrow kind of helped him see that maybe their point of view wasn't always the best point of view. So he has a very deep friendship with Hal Jordan, which comes to play, especially when Hal Jordan is no longer Green Lantern and more the Spectre. So they do get into all kinds of crazy shenanigans, the pair. So do you want to move on to why Hawkeye's comic book recommendation? Do you have one for him?
Well, I went through a few for Hawkeye, but the thing with him is he's so known for being a member of the Avengers. Yeah, it's kind of easier in a way to go for his Avengers stuff, because while his comic book ones are pretty good, he ends up going against some pretty decent characters. Ones that he's matched up against. He's had crossovers with a lot of different ones. The real kind of big moments for him were whilst as a member of the Avengers. Yeah. So the one I quite want to go for is House of M and the surrounding bits around there. Now, House of M is basically where Scarlet Witch, who has the ability to manipulate the world around her, changes the world so that mutants are the dominant species. And it all ends up going a bit wrong, and the whole world collapses in around her, and when it goes back to the normal world, I think like 2/3 of mutants lose their X gene. But before that happened, she went a little bit crazy and made a Kree warship appear above the Avengers mansion. Now, the Kree are such a kind of horrible, devastating race. I mean, we know Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy. The Chitauri, who are in the Avengers film, better known in the comics as the Skrull, were actually a peaceful race before the Kree first attacked them and turned them into what we now know as the Chitauri. Hawkeye actually, during the fight, his quiver was set on fire, and as he had exploding arrows in there, he knew that the arrows were going to, explode, and didn't have time to get them off and get them out of the way of his fellow Avengers. So flew into the engine of the Kree warship, and the explosion in his quiver destroyed the warship, but also killed him. So here we have, someone who's shown that they're willing to sacrifice their lives for their teammates, for their planet, for their, for the people they care about. He then appeared again.
Could he not have just simply took it off and threw it?
In the situation, if you were to read it, you would realize kind of why he went for it that way. Also, it was on fire, so it's not a simple case of, I'll just take it off. No, it's, now my hand's on fire, and it burns and it hurts, and now I can't fly and kill a Kree.
But now I'm not dead.
But yeah, so then he appeared in House of M, because apparently changing the world in that way meant that he never died, but had no memory of what happened before. And when his memory was restored to him, he shot Scarlet Witch in the back and killed her, which ended House of M, which was always kind of a weird thing, because those two have always kind of had a bit of a thing going on between them, even though, you know, she's been married and stuff. So yeah, my recommendation would be the lead up to and House of M. He doesn't appear again after House of M until during the Civil War. So he's gone for quite a while.
You know what? It's very similar to my comic book recommendation for Green Arrow, more specifically the lead up to it. But my one is, you can see there, it's the Longbow Hunters. This one is different, but there is one.
Is this the one where he trains a midget to stand on his shoulder and shoot arrows, dressed exactly the same as him?
Yeah, it's exactly what happens. I mean, they nailed it with the cover art, didn't they?
Yeah.
The ones after this, Quiver, deal with him dying and him being brought back to life by Hal Jordan to go on and you know, but he has a large amount of memories that he doesn't have, because he gets reset from a point where he feels he was still a good person, rather than he gets reset to a point before the Longbow Hunters, which is this novel here. So basically what happens, he relocates from Star City to Seattle, because that's where his then girlfriend Dinah Lance, or Black Canary, lives. He changes some of it. He goes through this massive change. He changes his costume, and he gets rid of his old trick arrows for more traditional archery equipment, things like that. While he's there, there's a serial killer called the Seattle Slasher that is killing prostitutes in the area, and Black Canary is attempting to infiltrate a drug ring. So there's something already going on when he gets there, and he kind of leaves Dinah Lance to her stuff, and he goes off and tries to track down this serial killer. So he tracks her to the Seattle Underground. This one's good because it opens up some of the characters that you see in Arrow, the TV series. There's a few of them in. And anyway, he kind of gets into this with the Seattle Slasher, and it ends up that this character shows up called Shadow, who we know from the TV series, and she shoots the Slasher, kills him before disappearing. So Oliver then spends a lot of the time trying to find her. The archer is Shadow, and she's the daughter of a Yakuza agent incarcerated during World War II, and she's basically been tasked when she comes of age. She basically has to go and kill American World War II soldiers who dishonoured her father, and obviously that's who this slasher was, and that's who a few of these people, and it works out that she's tasked to go and kill some people from this drug ring that Black Canary's investigating. Anyway, turns out the Black Canary gets the whole drug infiltration thing goes badly. Black Canary gets tortured and beaten and is close to death. Oliver finds her, flips out, kills the guys who did it to her, like full on murders them, and it all kicks off in this horrible kind of way. And then after that, he feels that after this, the consequences of what he did hugely affect the rest of his storyline. He becomes a completely different person. He feels that he becomes a darker character. He can't do what he does anymore. He's not part of the Justice League or anything like that, and he ends up getting killed by a bomb in the end, and then eventually is resurrected by Hal Jordan. But he doesn't get resurrected. What happens is Hal Jordan goes to heaven, finds him. He doesn't want to go back and be the Green Arrow. So what they do is they send his body down and give him memories of before the Longbow Hunters, so he has no idea what's going on. And then he struggles to fill in the gaps, and he ends up speaking to like Bruce Wayne, who's told him that he's been through a load more. And obviously the relationship with his girlfriend has changed because he can't remember any of this story. And that story's quite interesting, but basically it just messes him up for the rest of his life, and to the point where he doesn't actually want to come back. So he just says no, and they send his body back with none of his memories from that point onwards. It's
a very similar kind of thing with the whole Hawkeye thing, because him not appearing again until Civil War is because he's decided to go off and lead a solitary life.
Yep.
It actually turns out that he's living with a powerless Scarlet Witch who has no memory of ever being the Scarlet Witch,
Yeah.
but ends up leaving her because the Avengers are in need of his help, and takes on the mantle of Ronin.
They are very similar characters, but what I will point out is Green Arrow came first.
Yeah, and
this story...
what I would like to point out is, well, yeah, Green Arrow has gone through some terrible stuff, with his girlfriend and killing those people, those nasty, nasty people and that kind of thing, and Hawkeye's done similar things and that kind of thing. Hawkeye can't go home and cry on his satin sheet surrounded by his billions of dollars.
Yeah, fair enough. The same could be said for Bruce Wayne, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say the same for Bruce Wayne, and I probably will when we inevitably have a Batman versus.
Iron Man. Yeah.
Well, maybe I won't pick Iron Man then.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair point. It's an interesting point. One of the interesting things about Green Arrow as a character is one of his villains, Deathstroke, he was trained by the same person that trained Deathstroke. So in certain comic books, he goes and meet to tropical islands, that's where they got the tropical island from, to meet a Asian gentleman called Natas, who just is his... They joke that he's his Kato.
Okay.
That he's tasked with training him by, surprise attacks and things like that. And he turns out to be the worst person in the world, who just, once he's gone, his way to make Oliver Queen a better fighter is to train Deathstroke in ways to kill Oliver Queen.
See, again...
Which is mad.
I mean, there is a similar sort of thing. The person who trained Hawkeye as a marksman ended up being a villain as well, and ended up, coming to blows with Hawkeye in the end. But most of his training actually came from Captain America. Captain America oversaw a lot of his training, which, when you brought up the fact that he's had a lot of wards that he's looked after and trained, Hawkeye then took that knowledge when he founded the Great Lakes Avengers and passed on those teachings to the Great Lake Avengers. So, I mean, there are similar things, but I think I definitely want to be trained by Captain America. It'd be pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, because this guy was mental. This guy was, nuts. Just like... like you say with Sabretooth and Wolverine, he'd just be doing nothing in Star City, and Natas would show up and try and kill him. And he'd be like, so part of your training, see you later.
One thing, I will definitely concede to you with is Oliver Stone's backstory. Queen, sorry. Yeah. Oliver Stone. Oh my god, thinking movies. Thinking Nam. Yeah, Oliver Queen's backstory. The whole, being on the island thing and the way he was trained.
The island, it's more of a TV thing.
Is it really?
In some versions, like in the original version, he was just...
Because it was in Smallville as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the original version, he was just a rich kid who went out and Bruce Wayne'd one off, if you will. He was very much Bruce Wayne, but they gave him that different backstory to make him different from Bruce Wayne. In the Justice League, I tell you what's a good one for every DC character to read is the Injustice comics, the comic that came before the game Injustice: God Among Us. He basically ends up getting pummeled to death by Superman, which is really interesting. There's a really cool bit as well in...
Doesn't that also happen in The Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah, in The Dark Knight Returns, this happens to him. He's in The Dark Knight Returns, and he actually has no arm, but still is a bad boy archer. He uses his teeth to pull back the bow. And it's implied that Superman did that to him, and you only find out later it's because Superman did it to save his life rather than to kill him, but pulled his arm off.
Blimey.
And yeah, so he just carries on.
Comic.
He just carries on being Green Arrow despite not having two arms. It's crazy. It's a lot of Green Arrow comics have actually have had big accolades because they deal with difficult issues. Like one of his wards, Speedy, was actually a heroin addict. Which they
Speedy.
Yeah, Speedy. I know. Which they kind of hint upon in the TV series with his sister when he goes missing. They say that his sister develops this substance abuse, and
Yeah.
she's called Speedy.
One of the kind of issues I have with that was that was kind of DC's response to the Spiderman whole drug thing there, where they had Harry and Flash, I think it was, having got into drugs, and Harry actually ODs, and that was like a really big thing in comics for them to go for something like that, and DC kind of jumped on the bandwagon a bit there, I think.
Well, it came out in the 70s, this whole heroin overdose thing.
Same.
Who knows which one came first? I don't, but...
I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah. Shall we have a look at some of more recent cinematography versions of the two characters?
Let's do it.
We're gonna disregard Smallville.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No,
Yeah.
he appeared on screen in Smallville.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm bringing it up.
Okay, well then I'll bring up Hawkeye doing nothing in the 4 film.
Okay, fine.
So, do you want to explain a little bit about this fella, Jeremy Renner?
Jeremy Renner, what can we say? He's a sexy beast, and he looks good with a bow as well. So Jeremy Renner, he's
So
done
apparently
tons of films.
sexiness is going to be a
I shouldn't have
criteria.
I shouldn't have said that, should
Yeah.
I? 'Cause, you're going to beat me on sexy. So brilliant actor, Jeremy Renner. I mean, he's done tons of films. He's basically taking over from Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible films. If Tom Cruise ever actually decides to give up, he's done the Bourne things. We know him as being a good action guy, and then of course there's films like Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
Character of Hawkeye, we know so much but so little about him. We know he's got this big history with Black Widow.
Yeah.
We know that we definitely want to see a film about Budapest.
Yeah, we do.
There has to be a Budapest film.
Apparently, like George Ezra remembers it differently as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So the character within the films, quite similar to how he is in the comics. I mean, in the films, he's a bit more of a shield agent, which in the comics he wasn't so much of. In the Ultimate Comics, he's very much a shield agent.
You can
which
understand
I think they went for.
why they did it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really have gone for the Ultimate version from that point of view, because in the Ultimates he is a shield agent that just happens to be so good at archery and martial arts and that kind of thing. They made him one of the Ultimates.
Yeah.
So one of the few non-superpowered members of the Avengers team, yet still manages to find a place within them, find his own. Very nearly manages to hit Loki in the face with an arrow at one point, which would have been great. But it was an exploding arrow, so boom, ha, in your face, trickster, I tricked you. And somehow manages to go for that entire film without running out of arrows.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
There was a great Saturday Night Live spoof of it where they actually had Jeremy Renner on the show, and all the other cast members dressed as the other Avengers. And there's a bit where they say, "Oh, look, Hawkeye, there's an alien there. Quick, shoot it." "I can't. I've run out of arrows." "What? How many arrows did you bring?" 11. "You only brought 11 arrows?" "Yeah. And I've killed 11 aliens. You're welcome." Which is great, because it was actually Jeremy Renner doing it, mocking his own character.
The problem I have with Hawkeye in the Avengers is that number one, he's the villain of the Avengers at the beginning, kind of. I know he's been taken over by Loki.
But that's actually a clever little homage to the comics,
Yeah.
where he started off as an unwilling villain. So they kind of had to fit that in there.
I feel that if the Avengers didn't have Hawkeye in, do you think it would be it would suffer really badly for not having Hawkeye in?
Well, just to kind of put it into perspective for you, Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It takes Cap, Black Widow, and Falcon. It takes all three of them to take down those 3 helicarriers, where the only superpowered person they're coming up against, arguably superpowered, is the Winter Soldier. Hawkeye manages to take down a helicarrier filled with Avengers on his own.
He doesn't take it down. Stays in the air.
it very nearly gets taken down. All right,
Not really on his own. Loki's inside there.
Yeah, but Loki's doing his own thing. He's dealing with Thor and chatting up Scarlett Johansson in a really creepy way.
Really creepy way.
Yeah, with medieval curse language. We should learn some of that. We could say it before 9.
Mewling Quim.
Yeah.
I do
actually, one of the most offensive things you could call someone these days.
Yeah.
But obviously won't say it on air. Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that the film itself that he's in is the third highest grossing film ever.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, but the whole Budapest thing is funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of like, do you really? It's the same as, to be fair, it would be the same in a Justice League movie. How would Arrow really fit into that? In that kind of way. But I feel like the Avengers movie wouldn't be that worse if he wasn't in it. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that he's in it, but if they didn't have him, but you would swap him any day of the week for Spiderman.
Well, I think with any kind of non-superpowered character, you'd say the same, with the possible exception of Tony Stark and Batman.
Yeah.
Because their badassery basically makes them superpowered.
Oh yeah.
I think he's yet to have his real moment to shine. Because I mean the thing with the Avengers as well is you had even Cap on the ground fighting off Chitauri and that kind of thing, but his kill count of Chitauri was probably a fraction of what, say, Iron Man got.
Yeah.
Because, he was just going out there just shooting off missiles and repulsor blasts. And the Hulk, I mean, come on. And Thor with his lightning, he's a non-superpowered character. I mean, Cap doesn't technically have superpowers. But I'd be willing to bet, actually, that Hawkeye probably got more kills that day than Cap did.
Yeah. Yeah, but Cap did them a lot cooler. There's a lot of jumping around with shields going on.
Yeah. I also quite like the fact that he's a left-handed archer, and actually, because of it, have any of you seen that video going around about how to do archery correctly? About how the way we've been taught for the last 8... Yeah. If you watch the way he does it, he actually places the arrows in the same way that guy in the video does, but obviously in a left-handed manner. So he's doing archery properly. What's Oliver Queen doing?
Technically not true, because in that video they do slam Hawkeye.
Well, they're wrong.
Oliver Queen, Arrow. Obviously, yeah, he was in Smallville, but no one was a fan of Smallville.
So let's talk about that.
But let's talk about Arrow, because Arrow it's the TV. It's on its third season. It's not coming to an end anytime soon. Let's be honest. People love it. It's huge. You want to talk about a pretty boy? Let's talk about this pretty boy.
He is a pretty boy.
Every episode, they're like, let's get him half naked and climbing something that's weird. He is, as an actor, physically menacing.
Mm-hmm.
He's always doing something ridiculous, in that show, which I don't know whether I agree with. I don't know whether it's necessary, but it is quite fun to watch him try and climb up that bar that he keeps doing, the pull-ups and those then goes on to another bar. It's quite interesting to watch him do that. Trick arrows, he really goes for it. This TV program is all about him, which is why it's interesting.
But can I just ask, has he ever fired one of those trick arrows in the face of a god? Because Hawkeye has.
Yeah, but the god caught it.
Still exploded in his face.
Yeah.
Which was the desired effect.
Arrow did shoot through a boxing glove, which then punched someone in the face.
And technically, there aren't any gods that exist in the Arrow universe at the minute.
That we know of.
That we know of, yes.
Unless they bring Shazam in.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome. But never mind. Yeah. The thing is, Avengers is the Avengers and it was awesome. But Hawkeye in it wasn't the biggest part of the Avengers. If you lost the Green Arrow from... There's been recently, spoiler alert...
Answer me this then.
Okay, go on.
Right, because I'm caught up now. Of the recent troubles that have been going on in the city, or relating to him. Are there any that could not have been solved by the Flash? Because I know, like Ra's al Ghul is like a really kick-ass fighter and that kind of thing, but is he fast enough to deal with Flash?
Well, if you know the character, then probably. If we don't take Ra's al Ghul,
Ra's doesn't fight a lot of superpowered heroes. He usually goes for the non-superpowered kind.
Batman. Yeah, but he's still a terrifying foe.
Yeah, he's still a terrifying
I'm sure they'd find a way of sorting it out with the Flash. But is there anything that Hawkeye did that was particularly not doable?
He killed 11 aliens.
It's not great.
But when you say that, is there anything that they could have done without the Flash? Oliver Queen beat the Flash in a fight.
Keep in mind, Hawkeye is one of the few members of the Avengers who has military training. He is a tactician, and Captain America very correctly placed him on top of a tall building so that he could broadcast tactics to people. Now, and most of the other Avengers, I mean, you put Hulk in that position. No, it would just be Metal Man, smash alien. No, he was there. He was giving them, good directions. There was the point where he pointed out to Iron Man that they couldn't bank, so that he started turning all over the place. A load of them smashing up. He had a place within that team, and he worked it well. They won, didn't they?
They did, but Arrow beat the Flash.
Yeah.
So surely Arrow can hold his own against super.
He beat the Flash by setting up booby traps.
Yeah. Which is tactics.
Yeah.
The very same thing that you just said Hawkeye was about.
I'm sure Hawkeye would have taken out a bunch more of the Chitauri if he'd been able to get there a couple of hours before they showed up and place traps all over the place.
And that was his fault for not doing that.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'd also like to point out that he did all that stuff while suffering a concussion.
Oliver Queen died recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So?
He's now back.
He obviously didn't die. He was just
I did say spoiler alert earlier. But, yeah, he's... You kind of feel like without Oliver Queen, the whole series is just a bit... what's going on? They kind of managed to bumble their way around certain missions and things like that.
Yeah.
And characters get beaten up. Female characters get beaten up. Everyone gets beat. Vinnie Jones appeared. Arrow disappears. Vinnie Jones appears. Not cool. Arrow comes back. Vinnie Jones is not there.
Yeah.
The point is that the TV series is very much about him, whereas the Avengers is a team effort. And I know Arrow has a team, but the whole thing is just him, and it is good because of that.
But, this is the thing. I mean, do we say that Arrow wins on screen because he's got his own dedicated screen version, but do we take into account that while Hawkeye doesn't have his own dedicated one, it is film rather than TV?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's I don't know. It's kind of a tough one for me. I do love the show Arrow. The first series was a bit weak.
The problem I'm having with Arrow is that he starts off and he'll just kill anyone. And then he goes through this change where he won't kill anyone. And now he's back to being like, well, I'm going to have to kill this guy. So he is kind of flip-flopping a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he does have, I don't know, you kind of feel with him, you kind of just want to go, I understand, but I kind of just want him to go, no, don't care about them. Who cares what your sister's doing? Just go and kill some people.
Well, I mean, that's the great thing with Hawkeye, because Hawkeye's thinking when it comes to whether or not he should kill someone is, I don't like that person. Why doesn't that person have an arrow in them? Now they do.
Good day.
I'm going for a pint.
Yeah. And there aren't any other characters really like Hawkeye in... Well, there are, but there aren't any major characters, whereas people do say that Arrow is a poor man's Bruce Wayne. Which is not true, because he's just as rich as Bruce Wayne. Well, he's not. He doesn't put satellites in the sky. But do you know what I mean? Right. He does have a much more interesting backstory, though, especially in the TV. Much more interesting backstory.
Yeah. I've already given you the backstory. You can have that.
So we are coming towards the end of the show.
Is that all of our categories?
Well, we could go on love interests if you want, if that's important to you.
I'd say Hawkeye would actually do quite well on love interests. His main two love interests in particular, which were, of course, the Black Widow, the lovely Natasha Romanoff, and Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff.
So he does love the offs.
Yeah.
If you go on the on-screen, his love interests doesn't look good for him. Because, yeah, maybe there was that thing with Black Widow, but people are reporting now that she's having a thing with someone else in the new Avengers.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go on TV and film, Oliver Queen has just done everyone.
Well, this is the thing with Hawkeye. You know, he falls in love hard. He really does. Like, he goes to extreme lengths for the women he loves. But, I mean, I think one of the really heartbreaking things that's going to be with this is they're introducing Scarlet Witch, who he's held a candle for ages, but they're also introducing Vision, who she ends up picking over him, despite the fact he's a robot.
A robot.
Yeah.
Who does have a good voice.
Yes, yeah. The lovely Paul Bettany.
Yeah. It's difficult. I will admit it's difficult, but I think, from my point of view, I prefer Green Arrow. Just because there is the whole Green Arrow son. Oliver Queen has not been the only Green Arrow. Mm-hmm. He did have a son called Connor with Black Canary. And he became the Green Arrow when Oliver Queen was dead.
See, I reckon Hawkeye and Black Canary should get together. They can have a kid called Canary Eye. Screams really loud while staring at you.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
I'm actually going to give it to you this week.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Green Arrow's comics. I've read a few of them, and to be honest, I find them quite poorly written. And
some of the newer ones, they've come under scrutiny. Some of the newer ones. Some of the older ones are...
Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of him within the comic universe, but at the same time, I think Hawkeye's best comics have been while he's been with the Avengers, so again, not entirely centered around him. I think screen-wise, I am gonna say that Queen gets it.
It's kind of difficult because we're currently in the middle of an Arrow boon, aren't we? The season's on.
This might all change in May.
Yeah, when...
I mean, we don't know what part Hawkeye's going to play in this film.
Exactly.
I mean, in the Age of Ultron comic, he's actually one of the coolest characters for the early part. Goes off to rescue Spiderman when everyone else in New York is dead and there are Ultron robots all over the place, but then doesn't really do anything else for the rest of it. Just typical Hawkeye.
Done my job. See you later.
Spider-Man safe. Yeah, so I'm going to give you the point for this one. Cool. I think you're in need of a point.
I feel a loss. I felt bad after Dupe and Codpiece.
It was so bad.
That wasn't good.
What do you guys think? Green Arrow or Hawkeye?
Well, I actually have no idea because they seem fairly evenly matched skill-wise. They both know combat. They both have their own trick arrows. They're both tacticians. They both know their stuff. So they're quite evenly matched.
Will facial hair swing the balance for you? Green Arrow does have facial hair.
But you are too young to grow facial hair, so does that make you envious?
You might not be too young to grow facial hair.
He doesn't have any now, so I'm assuming.
He's got a bit of stubble.
There we go. Green Arrow wins.
What do you guys think?
I agree with the fact that the Green Arrow's comics aren't very good at the minute, or haven't been very good in a while. While Hawkeye in the comics is actually a really interesting character, especially with the whole Ronin thing. Mm-hmm. But on screen, Hawkeye isn't portrayed in that way. So in the Avengers, for example, it doesn't feel like he's really needed, to be honest. And if you take him away from the thing, you won't realise he's not there. Does that make sense? Well, with Arrow, recently the show has been really, really good. And because of that, the popularity of the character is getting really big now. So, in my opinion, I'd slightly give the edge to Oliver Queen.
Fair enough.
I love a queen.
Georgie?
I genuinely don't care.
Wow. Strong opinions.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'll count that as a win.
For this one. Yes. So Green Arrow wins. DC's 1-1.
There's only been one.
Surely not.
You won the Marvel one. We've chatted before, but there's never been any kind of real competition to it.
Oh, now there's no competition to it because I've won all of them so far.
How have you won it? I think you're
swear
pulling
we
that
had
out.
some before
I think you're
Christmas.
pulling that out.
I swear we had one before Christmas, didn't we?
What we did was we had Sinister Six
Oh,
versus
that was it, yeah.
Suicide Squad.
That was it. Okay, so it's 1-1.
I'll take one on. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have one planned for next week?
We don't. If anyone wants us to do a particular
I think
one,
we should do.
get in contact.
I feel we should do. Okay, we'll do Batman versus Morph from the X-Men. Sound good?
I was going to suggest Deadpool versus Deathstroke.
Oh, that's quite controversial.
Deadpool's going to win that, so I'm not up for that. I'm not for that. Don't know how I feel about that.
Let's either people get in contact and tell us who you want to see, or we'll think one up as a surprise for next week.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. It is coming to the end of the show. Thank you guys for listening. Anything you want to say before we leave?
No.
Strong end. Strong finish, guys. Thank you to everybody in the studio.
No worries.
Well, I'd love their enthusiasm.
I know.
You'd never guess they've been sat in a hot studio for 3 hours listening to us.
We'll be back next week at 7 p.m. Hope maybe Callum will be back. Poor empty seat right there. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't get to do my anime recommendation, but maybe
It's
we'll
Gotham
say
Knight. Watch it.
it is Gotham
I've
Knight.
done it for
Watch
you.
it. It's great.
It is.
We'll be talking more about TV and film. New trailers next week. We'll be doing some new games, and you've got a comic book recommendation.
I do. Yeah.
Don't you? Excellent.